Oh, hey, Justin. Thanks for coming in before we get this going. I really appreciate it.
I mean, I risked a lot coming here, so you know.
Yeah, actually, if you could just like stay where you are, like just right there at the door.
I'll stand at the door. Yeah, I feel comfortable here. That's fine.
Yeah, they say 6 feet apart, but that's like 12, and I really feel more comfortable in that zone. So I appreciate
right.
it.
And also, there's a big risk of earthquakes, so you know, doorways are good.
Yeah, everything is weird now, and who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But that's actually why I called you in today. As you know, the COVID-19 epidemic has caused a lot of small businesses to have to close down, and like they've been laying off employees. And dude, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to let you go.
Okay, all right.
Like I think like the theme song and the music, like that was a pretty big expenditure,
right?
And we're not bringing in the money that we normally do, right. And
I mean, I got us that Swift Acres Farm sponsorship. That was pretty.
You
good.
did, and yeah, that got us through that. That got us through that. But Swift Acre Farms also, they shut down.
Oh,
so yeah. I mean, it's just bad, man. I just can't afford to keep you on. Like,
right.
Just
I mean, I guess duck mayonnaise doesn't sell as well as it used to.
No, it's too, it's like that's a rich person's food.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I understand where you're coming from here. I would like to point out that I might have to call a lawyer though. I do have a lot of backed payments. I mean, I have a record here if you'd like to read it.
Well, I don't want you to hand me anything because,
right.
I don't know where your hands have been.
I'll leave it on the chair. I'll spray it with some cleaning stuff before I go, and I'll let you read that over, and my people will call your people, and we'll just go from there. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh, are we recording again?
Oh, son of a bitch!
Come in and put your weary feet up. Come in and gently close the door. Our time will leave you intrigued and wanting more. Remove your clothes. Listen to those headphones. Take off your pants.
I just don't know why that keeps happening. It's like I don't know why we keep recording this like personal stuff, Justin. I don't know. I feel like that's just unacceptable. Like this is like the 4th time this has happened.
I mean,
like
I just hit record when you tell me to sometimes, and what the mic picks up, the mic picks up. I can't.
It's very unprofessional and embarrassing, and I don't know how we're going to continue.
We should apologize to all our listeners in advance.
Yeah, I mean, we should just do that
all the time,
every episode anyway. Yeah.
We should. That's how we should start every episode from now on. Welcome to Nerds Without Pants. We're very sorry.
Yes, actually, that's a good idea.
I like that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerds Without Pants, episode 172. We're very sorry, and we cover everything while bearing it all. I am Julian, and I'm joined as always by Justin.
Hello, I'm here. Julian, I was wondering something before this podcast. Are horses okay? Do we know if horses are okay? Has anybody checked on them?
I have a friend who that's all she does, and her horses seem okay.
Okay, that's good, because when I Googled it, all I got was, I Googled it, and it says, what do horses really need to avoid winter health problems? Which doesn't really answer my question. But I'm glad to know that horses are okay. I'm glad you have the hookup in that area. That's good to know.
Yeah. Just a friend of mine that I've known since 4th grade who has gone very redneck in her adult years and actually posted a picture on Facebook of her stepdaughter with a assault rifle in the Walmart parking lot protecting their toilet paper. So that's the age we live in.
You're all invited to my future cannibal gang. It's fine. I'm kidding. I hope it never gets to that point. Good God.
When do we get to start wearing the spiked shoulder pads? and harnesses. Is it like another month or?
I believe it's going to have to be when the gasoline starts to run out. That's
okay.
Or was Mad Max? Yeah. Mad Max was gasoline.
I think it was gasoline.
There's one that's water and one that's gasoline. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think water is Waterworld.
No,
I think no. Because isn't the whole thing that it's all salt water, so like it's not usable, but actual like potable water is
I think
rare.
That is a plot point, but I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of. Anyway,
okay, yeah. Here we are in the COVID-19 apocalypse, and I just want to let the listeners know, like, you know, we are sorry because like our quality is going to take a hit right now because, you know, we're working on a skeleton crew. We only have Triple H here recording things for us.
He's on commentary for some reason.
Yeah, you know, and no, I'm just kidding. If anything, we are now the best sounding podcast on like in the world,
right? Yeah.
Because none of these like big highfalutin productions they don't know how to do it through the Skype. Everything sounds like shit now.
Yeah, suck on it.
Our day has finally come.
We have surpassed all our predecessors. We are the master now, and
yes,
I feel good about it. Yeah,
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, we're here. You know, we're gonna entertain you guys, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about it. But obviously, like it's a pretty heavy thing right now, and we'll try to inject some levity into your lives. And you know, like I think that, you know, probably some of our listeners are working from home now, and so maybe now like they might want more of us, or they, you know, because they can.
Right.
They can actually, like, maybe you work in an office where you weren't allowed to use headphones, but now you're at home and you can use headphones. So you can do what I do and just listen to podcasts all day while you work.
Right.
You know, and hopefully, I haven't talked to Justin about it yet, but we might try to throw out some bonus episodes here and there.
Oh, I'm super down for that if you are. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this thing might be going on for a while. The funny thing is that, like, I think for you and me, Justin, like, our actual, like, day-to-days haven't really changed.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
I'm still driving to the office every day, and, like, when I'm at home, it's like, this is just life. Like, and then you've been social distancing for, like, a year.
Now everybody's living exactly what I've been living for months now, where I'm just like, I can't leave the house because I can't see good enough and I might get hit by a car, so... Welcome. Now everybody's like, well, and now it's like, well, now there's this other thing tacked onto it, which is super scary, and now I especially don't want to leave the house. So there we are.
Does put a disturbing microphone, or not microphone, a microscope on my life though, where it's like, oh, I actually apparently that's just my life.
Yeah,
and like nothing actually feels different, other than the fact that I'm scared to go to the supermarket right now, and I have not gone yet.
Right.
So
it's a wasteland there, so enjoy that.
But that's enough doom and gloom. We've got a fun episode lined up for y'all. So I suggest that you all take off your pants and relax, because it's time for the stage select. This week's stage select is my stage select, which last time when we recorded, I was very excited because we were getting into WrestleMania season, and womp womp. No, I mean WrestleMania is still happening, but it really shouldn't, and because I watched some wrestling without an audience just recently, and that shit's weird, Justin. I don't like it.
It is okay. Did you watch WWE without an audience or AEW without an audience?
WWE. I watched two things. I watched a segment of John Cena, like, doing an interview in the ring with Michael Cole, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Like, other than the fact that, like, you know, it was weird to see John Cena, like, looking towards, like, imaginary audience, because that's what he's used to.
Right.
You know, because that's the thing, is like, when you're a wrestler, you have to, like, try to engage with as much of the crowd as you can, you know?
Right.
Like Stone Cold would say, like, you know, we have to do things big so that, like, the people in the rafters can see. And of course, Cena's been doing it for a long time. When things got really weird was when Bray Wyatt came out of the audience.
Yes.
to come out and do a promo, and just hearing wrestling promos with like no crowd, just the weirdest shit. And then I watched part of a match, and then just no, I
disagree. Well, I don't disagree. I do agree it's very weird. I actually kind of dig the no audience being there for the promos, though. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of old WWE when they used to do those in-studio promos, and they would just, like, talk into a camera. I kind of dig that. And there's no idiots what chanting. I hate the what chant. I hate it so much. I think it's asinine. And so I kind of like that aspect of it. Now, AEW, when they did their show, they put all the wrestlers in the audience, so you still had crowd noise and somebody to play up to.
Oh, that's neat.
It was actually really cool. And so you had MJF talking shit on the outside and like taking bets on matches. It was really cool. I actually really dug it.
That's a good way to do it, because I will say that the match that I watched, it was Rey Mysterio against some guy that I've never seen before, and the only thing that made it watchable was that Asuka was actually on commentary, and she was just losing her shit. And I was like, okay, that stuff is good. Like, just have her out there the whole time.
Asuka's fantastic.
She is. But that's not what we're here to do. We are here to create the next WWE game.
Or just wrestling game in general. That's what I...
Or wrestling game. Well, specifically, like I wanted to, like, you know, tell THQ, hey, look, we can... Or wait, no, it's not THQ.
I was going to say, no, they don't exist.
THQ. Is it not Vicarious Visions?
Oh shit. Now I don't remember. It's 2K.
but it's Visual Concepts?
Visual Concepts, that's it. I knew it was a V. I couldn't remember. God, I swear to God, I will nail stuff like this when I'm not on a podcast, and as soon as I'm on here, I can't remember a single name. When I'm at home just listening to other people try to think of names, I'm like, oh, it's this, just instantly. And I apologize to everyone that I am bad on the spot. Anyway, we
did the blanket apology at the beginning. We're good.
That's
the
right.
rest of the episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. So the way that I wanted to do this was that, just like we did with our Final Fantasy one, we kind of I separated out tasks. So I took graphics and presentation, audio and commentary, and roster. And then, Justin, you had creator wrestler, story, and then the actual mechanics of the game. So why don't you go first, and you can pick whatever one of your categories you want, and we'll start to build this game.
I'm going to go down my list. Okay, I'm going to throw you off a lot, and I'm very, very sorry in advance.
No, that's what I'm hoping for, because it might actually end up, just like the Final Fantasy one, it might end up really jiving well with my ideas.
Okay.
Because my ideas would throw people off as well, most likely.
I built 2 games.
I'm already thrown off.
Yeah, exactly. So I
WWE Red and Blue.
Yeah, so basically for a long time, people have kind of thrown out this idea that people I listen to anyway have thrown out this idea of, hey, they should like kind of take a break on these games and like come back, or maybe like do like the Call of Duty model and split it into 2 teams and have one year have one kind of game come out and another year have a different kind of game come out. So I'm kind of going with that a little bit here. So my first game is kind of like what I think most people want out of a wrestling game. But it's not what I want. It's not my dream game. And that's the way more ambitious bullshit that I'll get to in a little bit. So the first one I have is just like, it's just basically like an arcade style, like kind of fun based game. And I just think you just dig out the old Aki engine and just refine it a lot. The Aki engine is very highly regarded in the wrestling game community. That's, the one No Mercy used and the WCW versus NWO games used. It's very simple to learn. Just A grapples, hold A to hard grapple, 1 button punches, 1 button runs. Very simple to learn. There's a lot of chaos and stuff that would happen. It was also used by the Def Jam games as well.
Yes.
And that's kind of where most of my idea comes from. So I kind of want to like just make it really, really super over the top for this one and just like kind of do like the Def Jam games did and like have a lot of different arenas. Like, I want like real big sprawling arenas, like, cause I liked that about the old SmackDown games, at least like back in the day. They don't hold up at all, but how you kind of felt like you could go anywhere in the arena. Like, I want that feel for it. And like, I want you to be able to go like anywhere in the arena and like, kind of have the crowd like follow you around as you go, and like, they'll kind of act as the ropes, just kind of like Def Jam did. Def Jam kind of had the thing where you could kind of push people into the crowd. They'd get pushed back, and you could kind of do a little grapple like that. I always thought that was kind of fun. But it basically just like make real wrestling moves, but just way, way over the top. Just everything is way over the top. Probably like something more stylized, but just simple to learn and easy to master. And we refined that Aki engine just a little bit, so where it like kind of locks on a little bit better, so you're not just kicking at air sometimes, although that's kind of maybe the fun of it. We'd have to test it.
It would need to be quite a bit faster for me. That was always my thing, you know, in the Aki versus, like in the, like No Mercy versus SmackDown, like fight. I was definitely on the SmackDown side, mainly because those games were like so fast.
Yeah.
You know, and they just felt really good. Where the Aki always felt like, oh, like I'm just plotting here. Also, I always hated the block animation where they just like thrust their chests out. I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you take a lot of that stuff. We want to refine it a lot and make it a lot smoother and stuff. And yeah, you could probably
stop having them hold their ear when they get hurt.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, that stuff's outdated. You updated this. This is an old idea, but I don't feel like that's too hard to replicate of a thing. Just like, one button does a thing, and then you hold that button to do a stronger version of it. Like, that always seems easy. Like, that was the appeal of those old games, was anybody could play them and pick them up, and it was fun. Like, I have really good memories. I'm sure, like, you know, if people out there played those games and have fond memories of them, it's like you have like 4 people in a room just sitting with all with controllers and just doing battle royals and jumping off the ropes and hitting the wrong person, but it's hilarious and you're all sitting there laughing. Those are great games, at least I thought so for that reason. So I kind of want to bring that sort of idea back, and that's like the main idea for my arcade game. I didn't go super far into detail on that one because of the other game that I have, and I'm going to do a lot of reading on this one, and I'm very sorry because I really need to kind of spell this out because this is the most ambitious bullshit anybody's ever put on this show, and I don't even know if it's going to work. But so my idea for like a more simulation-based game, and bear with me on this. So it's like I said, it's something I've had in my head for a long time. I've been playing a lot of Fire Pro recently because I have nothing better to do. And I'm sorry to inform everyone, I deleted my entire roster and started over, because why not? But anyway, the one idea I've always loved about Fire Pro is they have a stat at the end of each match that takes into account crowd approval. And it's not, it's not super important. But it's there. And it's kind of fun to mess around with it. Basically, it's just a lot of real basic stuff. It's like, did your wrestler repeat moves? Did they hit all their signature spots? How long did the match go? How many times did they kick out at 2.5? There's a lot of like weird background stuff that happens. But I always kind of dug the idea of like, hey, there's also this play to the crowd aspect of the game. Like I said, it's not super important, and like, it's kind of like glossed over. You can go for it or not. It doesn't matter. But like, I've always dreamt of the game where you just like, that's the focus is.
Yes.
It's 2 guys trying to, actually work a crowd and make it like, that's the entire thing. You're trying to give the fans a show. So I'm going to start reading here. And we'll see there. Okay, so apologize in advance if this sounds a little stilted. I am reading, and then I'm going to expand upon the idea. So, let's see. No, we don't need to read that. The only thing that matters in the match is how good of a show you put on for the fans. Okay. Yep. I did this whole speech. Good job, me. All right. Okay.
Thing in.
Yeah. Oh no. Perfect. Excellent. I want it to, cause I that's exactly how I wanted it. I don't make mistakes on this show. I don't know if you knew that. Anyway, okay, so this is how I picture this going down. So before each match, basically the idea I have is you pick who's going to go over. Or in layman's terms, for those who aren't like as familiar with wrestling as like Julian and I are, that means who's going to win. You pick who's going to win in advance. Now, I know that sounds
interesting.
I know that sounds ridiculous. So, like, let's say you don't want to pick that and you just want to be surprised. You can opt out of that. And just let the CPU flip a coin. But basically, and if there's more than one opponent, that, you know, they could pick for you. It's, you know, this is kind of near. You can also, I would also probably like allow an option to hide it too. Next up I have in certain modes for eFed reasons. Yeah, I would allow the option to hide it. Who's going over? Yes, exactly. So like, because eFeds are a big thing in the like online wrestling community, that's where like basically people create wrestlers and then they just have CPU versus CPU matches and they just let whatever happens. And right. people get really, really super into that. And I don't want to take that away from them by just like, oh, well, he picked this person to win. They're going to win. So I would allow the option to hide that. So it's a super surprise to everybody involved in it. So you could still do that whole thing. Now, basically in this game, you can't like not kick out of a thing. So in this game, there's no kick out mechanic. There's just a kick out button or just a get out of submission button. You're putting on a show. That's what you're doing. You're not here to win the match. You're trying to put on the best match possible. So, okay. After that, I have also, you will be given the option to pick a few predetermined spots. Okay. So a spot is basically like, when a guy goes through an announce table, that's usually decided ahead of time in the back between both wrestlers that, hey, let's do this thing where you and I put you through the announce table and so on and so forth. You can have the option to do this before the match. You don't always have to do that. You can always, you can call things in the ring, as I like to say. This is a very weird and different game. I do realize this.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's super fucking ambitious. Just, again, I have a lot of bullshit here. So basically you can set up a lot of that stuff ahead of time, and I'll get to how that all flows together later. So after that, so basically I have like, if you want to start the match like brawling, or you want to start with like a technical chain wrestling thing, you can determine all that before the match starts, or you can just like kind of call it on the fly, like just like kind of like real wrestling does. Okay, everything will revolve around your stamina in this game, which is basically like one of the few stats I have in my head for it. So there are ways to let it charge back up, but for the most part, each action you take will require an amount of stamina. So basically, like, you do a move or a sequence, and basically, like, it takes a certain amount of stamina from each guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know, like I said, I know this is a lot. I'm very sorry. Okay. So next up, the game flow is like this. Okay. Before the bell rings, if not decided beforehand, both players decide upon a move or sequence they want to perform. I already said that. Each wrestler will have different options depending on how they're set up. So like if you're a technical wrestler, depending on what moveset you have different options. Like this guy's not a technical guy. He's a big brawling dude. So that's what he starts with. But if you're up against a technical guy, you can kind of pick which one you want to do. It will also reveal how much stamina that move will take before each wrestler. For each wrestler. So basically, like, you're kind of picking from a menu each time, and you're calling spots as you go. And I know this sounds weird. I haven't gotten to the main thing. Basically, every time you start a move, it's going to start a rhythm game-like sequence for each wrestler. This is not a fighting game. This is a rhythm game. That is how I envision wrestling to be. And basically I kind of envision it like Guitaru Man. That's how I envision this. Like you're kind of like almost exactly like Guitaru Man, where you kind of like follow the stick or something and press the button. So
you had lost me and then you got me back.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I'm thinking this goes down. So you're kind of picking from menus and hitting what move you want to do. And then every time it goes, okay, this is the sequence, and both characters will get it. Both wrestlers will get this because, wrestling, both people have to be doing the stuff. Some moves will be harder for your opponent to do. Like if you do a Canadian Destroyer to a guy, that's actually more on the person having it done to them because they have to initiate the move. That's really hard to explain. A Canadian Destroyer is a flipping pile driver. Go look it up on YouTube. It's crazy. Anyway, so like, let's say your opponent botches an input or you botch an input. Basically what happens is you fucking fuck up the move. It'll be a little lenient. Like you can kind of miss here and there. And that you can kind of adjust the difficulty on how hard this thing is. And basically when you do that, if you really fuck up and you both, or one of you fucks up and you fuck everything up and you drop the guy on his fucking head, that person then gets hurt. And if they get too hurt, the referee will call the match. And they'll throw up the X, and that's the end of the match. So you don't want that to happen. Don't fuck up.
Right.
So let's see. I have that.
You don't want your opponent to yell at you in the back and say, "Are you just a stupid wrestler? Or are you just stupid?" And then you have to say, "I'm just stupid."
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that.
That's a deep quote. That's a deep cut. Some wrestling fans will get that.
Okay.
There's a CM Punk art of wrestling thing.
Oh yeah, it was that. Oh god, yeah. Poor Ryback. Well, no, not poor Ryback. That guy's an asshole. But then again, CM Punk's kind of an asshole too. Anyway. Yeah, he is a little
kind of sad to realize that.
Yeah, it is a sad realization, but you know, what are you going to do? So basically, like, between moves, time will slow down so you can pick the next move or sequence to perform. This will switch back and forth between you and your opponent, so you're each picking spots. Now, you can also, if you're a babyface, you can call out like, hey, I just want this guy to keep beating me up because I'm going to make a big comeback at the end. So he's basically like using all his stamina, and then you make your big comeback at the end. You can kind of keep calling that, or you can both work together on calling the match. It's a co-op effort. It's not a versus game. That's what I'm trying to get across here. So let's see. Got that. Okay. Also, there will be a setting for having the referee suggest spots for you to do. So, like, if you're not sure what you should be doing, the referee is kind of your crowd gauge. They'll kind of tell you like, hey, you should probably call this right now because this is what the people would want to see, or this goes with the match the best, or however you want to do it. Kind of help people out. There's also an option to call a rest hold, which will allow you to call several spots ahead of time, so you can just chain sequence things, and that, you know, gets the crowd amped up. But if you call too many rest holds, obviously it takes the crowd out of it, so you don't want to do that too much. I have made the most ridiculous game of all time, and I'm proud of it. Okay, then sometimes after a grueling set of sequences, you can have both wrestlers rest on the ground, or have one of them taunt the crowd to gain stamina back. It's up to you. You know, you kind of have to call the match and gauge what's going on to see what you want to do. If the time comes for a predetermined spot, the referee will let you know during the next sequence choice. There will also be a countdown for it in the UI. So like if it's like, hey, it's almost time for you to put the guy through the table now, you need to like get outside the ring. So make sure the next thing you pick gets you outside of the ring and in position to do the next thing, or else it's going to be really weird when you just both walk out or whatever. You don't want to do that. You want to make it smooth as possible. I'm going to take this shit into account. It's a very complex system. And that's basically it. So at the end, the winner is basically determined almost like Guitar Hero. Which one of you hit the most notes? Like, which one of you carried the match the most? Who was actually the real star of the match? And then, like, overall, you both want to get the 5-star match. And that's how I picture, like, real wrestling as a video game. I know it's weird and it's not a fighting game, which I don't think most people will be into this, but I love this idea. So this is my idea.
I'm real surprised because it reminds me a lot of like what they've actually been doing in recent years with like the chain wrestling stuff with like the quick time button presses, and you know, like you've got to like create these moments in the ring in order to like, you know, basically complete the match, right? So like in the last, well, I forget what mode I was playing, but on the 2K20 it was like, if I didn't do this thing, then I failed, even though I was actually like winning the match.
Right.
And honestly, like it's not a bad idea, but it sounds more like you're creating like a board game version of wrestling than a
That's
video
kind of
game
what, yeah,
version.
that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm picturing it more as a rhythm game than anything else. I personally dig this. Again, the difference between like what they've been doing in the recent ones and what I have envisioned here is this is like more of a co-op thing, whereas that game is confused as to whether it's a fighting game or a wrestling simulator, and that's what I don't like about it. If it would, kind of lean in, I think I've said this on the show, but I think if it would lean more into that idea, I think it'd be really cool. And I like the idea of like actually fucking up a match and hurting people. It kind of goes into my career mode and stuff like that. It's a weird idea. I know that's why I made 2 games, because I was like, one of these ideas people will like, and the other one is probably not going to go over well, but I need to get it out there in the world because it will help my sanity.
I think the idea that I've always had is actually almost like a combination of those two of your ideas, because I do think that like the core game needs to go back to a simpler, not even really arcade style, but it just, they've been trying to do too much in recent years. And I think they need to throw out like all of that like quick time event stuff in the middle of the match. Like, just bring it back to like a simple control scheme, but with simulation elements. So like, I think that like managing your breathing from the Fire Pro series is a really good mechanic that they should bring into the WWE stuff. But pleasing the crowd is the focus of like the idea that I've always had, because that comes for me from the, I know people aren't fans of these games, but I was, but those old acclaimed PlayStation games like Warzone and Attitude. If you were like not repeating moves and you were like doing like really good offense, the crowd would start cheering for you. You would get like a damage multiplier. And so then you could do like some really awesome stuff. But if you kept playing around, it would actually swing the other way. Like the audience would get tired of you, and then all of a sudden they'd start cheering for the other guy.
Right.
Like I actually almost lost a match because I was like, let me see how many times I can pedigree Road Dogg, in this match, because that's another thing that I liked about those games, is that you didn't have to like store a finishing move. It was just once you got the opponent down to a certain damage level, then you could just keep on doing your finishers and your signature moves. And so I just kept like doing my finisher on him, and he had no health left. It was like a black bar. And then all of a sudden the crowd just like started cheering for him, and he went up to like a times 10 damage multiplier, and then just started whooping my ass. And I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That was pretty neat.
So there is a middle ground here, actually, and I'm glad you made me think of it. This is how real ideas get pitched, because I pitch my crazy bullshit and somebody goes, what if this? And I'm like,
yes.
You're right.
What if we did something that would sell?
What if this? Right, exactly. Yeah, I realized mine is super niche, and I was like, this game will never get made, but I think it's weird and interesting. So my problem with like Fire Pro has always been like, I love the crowd approval thing, and I wish it was more important. But the problem is like, there are just times where like at the end of the match where you're like, well, I wasn't done having the match, but my guy couldn't kick out now. So what if we basically kind of did like almost a middle ground where we kind of just made the controls a lot simpler and basically just included the kick out button and made it more of a co-op thing, and kind of incorporated, like you said, like, hey, if you keep doing the same shit, which is kind of the same in Fire Pro, because as you go and as the crowd gets more into it, it's Fire Pro, it's not, it's super advanced or anything, but like as your approval starts to go up, you can hear the crowd get louder and start like counting along with pins and stuff like that. So that there is a middle ground there. Instead of like, hey, my guy's dead now because it's a fighting game, we just know you have a kick out button and you kick out when you want. The only problem I could see with it is basically if you do that, you're going to have like, no, I want to win type scenarios.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is a problem. Which maybe that's why, I don't know. It's a tough middle ground to pull, really. But yeah.
Maybe the kick out button thing only works in like when the crowd is on your side.
Yeah, but then you can't
or it's tied. Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can't play heal then. Yeah, that's the bad part, because if they're on your side and you're playing heal, it doesn't really work, I guess.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's
because I was thinking that like on the other hand, you know, you could definitely like as a heal go to pin somebody and then like, you know, do that heal move of like getting up before like the three, because like, oh, I'm not done with him, you know.
Yeah.
That's always like a really good dick move that I always love.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that in the 2K games if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't really do anything though. That's the problem, is like it's confused as to whether it wants to be a fighting game, and that's kind of the problem with simulation wrestling games. It's a tough thing to really do, and that's kind of why I came up with this weird other thing, because I was like, okay, well, if it's not a fighting game, what else would it be? And I was like, I've always like envisioned pro wrestling as kind of this weird like almost dance-like type thing. I know it's not, but you know, you get what I'm saying. Like kind of both guys are trying to work together to put on a show.
It's performance art. Like that's literally what it is.
Yeah. And I was like, the only other thing I could think of could come close to is like a rhythm game. And I was like, and that's kind of where I came up with this idea. So it's tough to get a middle ground there. We'd have to work on it, but this
honestly, like we could do your game in its entirety in like a mobile game. Like it would work perfectly for that. Like,
it would,
and people would be down for it, because like they're more open to like weird interpretations of things in a mobile game.
Oh, dude, actually, that would work. I'd be totally okay with that. Yeah, that'd be fun.
And I don't mean to say that as like to downplay it. It's more like I just think it fits better there.
Yeah, it could very very easily do that. Yeah, it does, and it doesn't or it just like it would be a really PC game, one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's super niche. I know that. And kind of Fire Pro is too. Like there's not a huge community for that game, because like, it's very simplified graphics. A lot of people don't like the timing stuff that's involved in it. It's so ingrained in my head that I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it also hasn't, up until just recently, it never had like a wrestling license attached to it either. So that was a big, drawback for a lot of people in the West, as far as like, oh, these are just generic wrestlers. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they have New Japan now and Stardom, which they just put a new update on. That's actually why I redid my roster. I was like, now I have new stuff. I need to redo everything. But yeah, it's tough, man, because like I said, there's a middle ground there somewhere. Like I said, but it's tough, because you'd almost have to do like, okay, this person has to win this match, or maybe it's still combat focused, and it's like, hey, this person's supposed to win this match. It's, coin flip goes off or whatever. This is who's going over, whatever. The object is still put on the best show, but we still have basically fighting game like mechanics, kind of very simplified, very easy to learn, not hard to do. And what we do is, instead of like a kick out button, if you fuck up and the wrong person goes over, the winner is still determined by a score type thing. Like somehow we'll take that into account as to who did the best with the crowd, basically.
Right.
Like, hey, you played your role perfectly. You got this score. This person played their role okay. They got this score. You actually won this match. That's who actually determines the winner, not who gets the 3 count.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That could work. I could see that working. Yeah. And like you do it afterwards, like, the person has their big show, and then like a screen comes up, scrolls down, and they go, this is the score. Like we just make a big show out of it. Blah, 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 blah. You got a 4-star match, and this person, the right person went over. Good job. And this person did the best in this match. They won, and congratulations them. That could work. I could see that working. And maybe you can put the kick out button in that case, and the whole thing, and just have fighting game mechanics. Okay, I'm into that. I'm settling on that. That's my simulation game now. Congratulations, we figured it out.
Yes, we did.
It's score based. Great. I like this. I'm happy with that. I'm actually like, yeah, that would work. Okay, all right.
we spent a lot of time on that, but it was also like the biggest part of
Oh, of
the
course.
game.
I knew
obviously, so.
that part was going to be long, and I apologize in
Yeah.
advance.
Now we covered that already.
We're
covered for the whole thing.
I like to apologize. Don't strip me of that joy.
So, one of my first ones was graphics and presentation, and I think what's great about my idea for this is that it fits with either idea.
Great.
Because like I've said, for people who don't really, I know we have a lot of listeners who aren't wrestling fans, and, what I usually tell people who aren't wrestling fans as to why I like it is that for me, it is the closest thing to a real life comic book that you can get. Because you have these men and women who have these physiques that are not like normal human beings, right? Like these are like just amazing specimens of humanity doing things that aren't humanly possible by most of the population.
Right.
So they may not have superpowers, but like I can't jump off of a, 18-foot ladder into a table and get up from that. Like that's just not a thing that I can do.
You don't know that. You never tried.
I know my pain threshold, Justin. But then on top of that, you also have like storyline stuff that is also very comic booky, right? So, and you even have these big personalities and characters. So like a lot of it is just very real life comic book. So to that end, I think it's time to ditch the attempt at photorealism for wrestling games. Because even like, I don't care like how good the graphics are getting, like it's not working. If you look at the character likenesses in WWE 2K20, that shit's rough, dude. Those like, there's like 2 or 3 wrestlers that look like they're supposed to, and the rest of them, it's like, I don't know, man. Like they got hair.
Yeah.
They got hair and they wear tights.
They have the same face as everybody else. That sounds right.
Yeah. So I think what you do is you actually go for a comic book look to the game.
Right.
Now there have been like WWE comics over the years, and
immediately what came to mind when you said that was WWE All Stars. The look of that game.
But I wouldn't go as cartoony as All Stars.
I didn't figure as much. I figured that's what you were leaning into. Yes.
Yeah, because All Stars was kind of going more for like an action figure route, where like the big barrel chests and like lantern jaws and stuff like that.
Right.
This would be more proportional. But even like think of like Street Fighter 4, but take the cartooniness down by about 25%. That's probably more what I'm going for. So like thick, like, inky lines. Like even I even see the presentation of the game, so like comic book font everywhere. And like maybe some of the story mode stuff is actually like, instead of trying to do like, pre-rendered cutscenes with like the character models, like you actually go like comic book panel, right? And I don't want to tread on your story mode part.
Oh no, you're not. I have 2 different story modes, so you're fine.
Right. But very, very like, honestly, like, I think the best, like, interpretation I can think of is Valkyria Chronicles, but with wrestlers. A lot, very inky looking with, like, actual, like, hash lines, in the shading and stuff like that. Like, just a very unique look to the game, something that you would never, like, you've never seen before in a wrestling game. Cause I don't know where you're going with the story, but, like, one thing that I was thinking about when you were talking about, the difference between like your arcade game and then this like weird, like, behind the scenes exposing the business version of a wrestling game.
My bullshit avant-garde game. Yes.
Well, like the thing that would make Jim Cornette just like, roll over and die and then turn over in his grave, which might not be
I was going to say he should probably do that. Yeah, he should probably
go ahead and do that.
Probably do that anyway. Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, but one thing that's been an issue for like the WWE games, it has been they can't, and also what am I talking about? The company as a whole, they can't seem to figure out what they want to be. Do they still want to be like this like entertainment show with like these crazy characters and outlandish storylines, or are these real people putting on a show and everybody knows it, right? Like I think this style works for everything, but I think it especially works if like, your game and story mode is geared around, we're just going to have crazy outlandish characters and stories, and it's not based in reality. Like the Undertaker actually is a dead man, you know, who comes from Death Valley, right? And like Kane was actually burned, you know, as a child in a fire, and like all that shit, right? The Hurricane is actually a superhero, you know, like you go that crazy with it. And so then this style works even better. But I still think it works if you want to go, no, these are just like John Cena is a regular dude, and when he's done with his match, he shakes hands with Bray Wyatt and then goes home to his wife, right? Like, cause they really, you know, cause when you have stuff like on the WWE network about like, oh, now they're having dinner, or now they're just like out of character and they're driving to the next venue. And it's like, okay, like you and me have known this stuff for years, but it's like, how do you still sell the other part of it when you have all of this programming that exposes all of that to be, you know, the farce that it is? So
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, wrestling is in a weird place. I would say, like, I keep bringing this company up, but AEW always seems to like walk the line really well because they kind of know that it's a show and it's over the top and ridiculous, and I kind of love that about them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't have, like, Orange Cassidy is a guy who would never work in WWE. They would not understand what to do with that guy, but he works amazingly in AEW. He's fucking great. And like, that over the topness. So basically your style, it sounds good. I like it. It's like, can I interest you in anime, but wrestling? That's what it reminds me of. But I dig
definitely
that.
more, but much more of an American comic book look.
Okay.
Like, not quite Jim Lee style, but that vein.
Okay.
Right. So like Ed McGuinness is, I think, would be like more of the WWE All-Star style with like the really big chests and like the lantern jaws and stuff like that, where, you know, Jim Lee, I mean, he definitely has like the outlandish proportions, but the characters still look more realistic. Right. So it's not a cartoon look. It's definitely more of like, you know, these are people like, you know, like wrestlers, like just like, you know, like Jim Lee's Batman is like, you know, that dude towers over everybody else in the room. Right. But that's because he's Batman. Right. So
makes sense.
So I think that would work. And, you know, obviously not as detailed as Jim Lee's art, but that's why I was trying to say like, so like that, but with like the shading and stuff that you would see in like Valkyria Chronicles with a little bit of that Street Fighter 4 like inkiness thrown in to just give it like this really hard look. That could work. And again, like I envision that for like the whole presentation. So like, you know, even when they're coming to the ring, like comic book fonts and stuff like that. And, like maybe, again, we're going to get to, I think you're probably going to do story next.
Yeah, this plays really well into at least one of the things. And I think I can make it play into the other thing too. So
yeah, go. Yeah.
So basically, for the arcade style game, I would like to reference a terrible game. 2K20 had Samoa Joe with a goddamn cybernetic arm, and that shit was fucking amazing. So I need more of things like that in my life. And basically what you were describing was like, I was like, yeah, that works perfectly for the arcade game. Like that's just exactly it. Like, we just make kayfabe super real. Like, wrestling is comic books, and the characters are over the top and insane, and like you exactly what you were describing. Basically, that totally works.
Like old school kayfabe, where like, because if you remember like back in like the 80s and stuff like that, like wrestlers who were enemies weren't even allowed to travel together because you had to keep up that mystique the whole time. So it's like you could have situations where like an enemy wrestler like encounters his rival at a bar, and then like another battle like breaks out because it's like,
I think I may have that actual exact thing that you just mentioned here. Because like for that arcade game, I kind of have like, okay, there's like wrestling arenas, and like you can go anywhere in the arena and it's kind of like almost like what we have now with an open arena, but like there's actually fans there. But then there's like a neighborhood and like a mall or some shit, and you just fight in those places and stuff because it's an arcade game. It's over the top, like kayfabe happens everywhere. These are comic book characters. They live the gimmick all the time. That's what I have in mind for that game. The story, I don't think needs to be overly complicated for like this arcade game. I think people put way too much thought into some of these. Like, I don't feel like they need it. So I just have it's real simple. So your new WWE, I have AEW, man, woman, they, whichever gender you decide to go with, or non-gender, however you roll, man. But you get to create them at the start of the thing, because I always kind of like that. Or, you have like presets or whatever. You can just kind of pick a guy, if that's more your speed. And you want to be the champion. That's what you want to be. That's basically really it. So you just work your way up the card. Like, I always liked that about the wrestling games. It's like, oh, I start with like, I'm trying to think of an old like guy that was down on the card. Like, you start out with like the Red Rooster or some shit, because fuck that guy. And now you're facing Hulk Hogan. That's more of a reference other people will get, but probably not Red Rooster. Anyway,
I got Red Rooster.
Poor Terry Taylor. He tried so hard, and none of you liked him. I
loved the Red Rooster as a kid.
I didn't get it. I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand this at all. But basically, yeah. But I just have like we were talking about, just over the top bullshit. I have a few examples written down. I have like AJ Styles beats up your dad at the mall. And so you go to the mall and you have a match with him because fuck that guy. That's all it needs to be. Like, that's just dumb stuff like that. Like, okay, here's another one. The Fiend actually hunts you down, and he sends like versions of himself after you to fight in like a gauntlet. And then you finally track him down to the Firefly Funhouse. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's entertaining to a degree. And you have like a death match there. And then every big shot you land, like the setting in the background changes from like the cheery like facade that it has to like a more evil thing and stuff like that. Cause it's real. This is what we're going for.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I miss the old parts of these games, and they're real dumb, but I used to love them. Where like superstars would like approach you, and this even happened in the Def Jam games, where like you would get like a girlfriend, and that was like a major event. Do you remember that? Like, no. You would get Carmen Electra in the story mode, and she was like your girlfriend now, and like everything revolved around her doing bullshit or getting in trouble. Obviously, I don't want to do that because that is very outdated nowadays. It does not work. But like, just like, it would be fun to be like, hey man, we should form a tag team, and like, you can totally turn that person down, and the story will split from there if you turn them down, right, or actually go with them, or you can have like Asuka be your manager or some shit. Who knows? Like, it'll kind of be randomized in certain spots, but I would love to have like a lot of branching stuff like that. Like, hey, I chose Asuka as my manager, and we went this route, and now I'm the Intercontinental Champion or some shit, and who knows? But yeah, just keep it completely ridiculous and over the top at the same time. Just all like every feud, like play into how over the top and stupid wrestling is. That's my idea for the arcade game. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it would work probably the best with the style that you have. My other game, I don't really have a story here. I have like a career mode, because I love career modes. I'm not gonna. So basically, it's just like, you make a dude, and they, you make them, and I'm gonna go with our more refined simulation here. So basically, you can be like God's gift to wrestling, and you have a bunch of archetypes that you can choose from. Like, I want to be like a mid-card guy, or a comedy guy, or a jobber, and you can just kind of like, I find wrestling of the old days very, very interesting and cool. Back in the old territories days, where like dudes would go from like Texas to like Memphis, and they'd be the champion in one territory, and then like the next night go and be just like a dude that was just there or whatever.
Like, just a nobody, because he wasn't known in Memphis, right?
Exactly.
Like, he was a Texas guy.
Right. And like, I love that idea. And like, that happens on the indies nowadays. I love that. I basically want you to be like, to have the true indie experience. So like, you just kind of you're just on the road, and you're getting bookings, and you're like, okay, go do this match at this place, and I'm the champion here. And now maybe one of my matches got seen on YouTube, and like, hey, I'm blowing up. I'm getting called for a lot more bookings. And then like, as things progress, like maybe one of the big companies gives you a call, and you get called up that way or something like that. Like, but you have to earn it. Like, you have to get like the good matches and be a good wrestler. Like, instead, and I also have ideas where like, hey, what if you suck at the game and you don't do that good, or you just don't, that's not the career trajectory you want to go. Maybe you want to be a deathmatch wrestler and destroy your body in landmines. I don't know.
And
you know, that too.
like when we were talking about 2K20 last year, like I did like aspects of the story mode because it was like, but again, it had that personality problem of, wait, are these guys like actually trying to become wrestling performers, or is this all real? Because there were some parts of it where it was like, oh, they're having actual like jovial conversations with the person they just wrestled with. But then at other times it's like, oh, I'm going to beat the crap out of you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wait, so what is this?
It's hard. Yeah. You can't, you have to pick a side, and this is the exact opposite of the other game. This is like, and like, I love the idea of like, hey, maybe you and a guy really have good chemistry together, and that guy approaches you and is like, hey, maybe we should take our match on the road because you and I keep putting on these great matches, which is a real thing that happens. People will take a match that they're, you know, are really good at. The most recent one I can think of that was like that was Keith Lee and Donovan Dijak.
They did that. Like they went all over.
Yeah, they went to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and just did that match everywhere. Now they're doing it in NXT. An older example, we were just talking about this guy, Colt Cabana and CM Punk. That's how they got their start. They would just do the same match, or maybe not the same match, but they do that.
They would just match up,
in different promotions. So, you know, you can kind of tour that way, get your popularity up that way because you keep putting on these great matches, and maybe that guy gets called up, maybe he doesn't. You never know. It's a little bit random, but I want that like true indie experience for it. And like, you know, you can kind of like build up your skills and do stuff like that. You have the option to like, you know, train and stuff like that. And in this one, I would imagine there would be attributes. Maybe I don't want a whole lot of attributes. I think that's one thing that really bogs modern wrestling games down a lot, is there's too many fucking attributes that like it makes it really
they're meaningless
to people.
Like, because they don't seem to do anything.
Exactly. You can't feel them. They're not like tangible. Like it's hard to explain. Now, yeah, even in Fire, I was gonna say Fire Pro doesn't do that, and no, I'm like, no, Fire Pro does do that. I've been like, this guy is a job guy, I'm gonna make him really bad, and then they'll beat somebody amazing. I'm like, how the fuck? No, that's not supposed to happen. What's going on here? But that's a CPU logic thing. Anyway,
the funny thing is that, so like, because I do think that like the actual wrestling part of wrestling games has gone too simmy, where it's like you don't need to go this hardcore with that. But this part of it, I do think you could turn into like a full-on sim where it's like, we don't have enough money to drive to the next venue, so we got to figure something out. Like, we're gonna have to sell something, or like ask for a loan from our parents or something like that to like, you know, and then when you get there, it's like, oh, like, we can't pay you as much as we thought we were going to, so here's like half of the purse that we promised you, and you know, stuff like that, like like actually managing like your income and stuff like that,
right? Yeah,
and having to
the
decide
old hot
like
dog and a handshake. Yeah, it's not gonna work out, but yeah, go ahead.
and like maybe your gear starts to degrade over time, you know,
right?
But then when you're able to afford like those really good boots, you know, you're like, oh, like I'm finally starting to get some momentum here, you know, like that, because that is like, because I've followed a lot of indie guys now where I'm like Facebook friends with them. It's funny because one of them just posted like some wrestlers on Facebook were doing like their first gear versus their current gear type of thing, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember when you were wearing like that pirate outfit, you know, like
Rhea Ripley was the one I seen that from, and she had like a Suicide Silence shirt on, and now she's just like decked out in like her WrestleMania shit, and I'm like, that's a long way, like, you know, like that would be cool, and like. And it was like I was saying before, where like maybe you rack up injuries because like you just have a very stupid wrestling style or something, and you keep getting yourself hurt. I don't know the exact mechanics behind that. But
or you're taking bookings when you shouldn't because you just need the money. So it's like, oh, I wrestled like 4 matches in a weekend, and it's like, why did you do that?
And now my body, it's taking a toll, and eventually like those injuries start to add up to where like all your stats won't go up anymore, and they start degrading. And so it's like, well, I got to retire now. Like, there's nothing else I can do. And you can end the game early that way. You can totally mess up. Or you can like, hey, I've gotten old now. Like, age is another factor, you know? Yeah. So my character's old now. They can't wrestle the way they used to. They're still popular enough to get bookings, but they can't wrestle the way they used to. Or, hey, I'm going to retire, but I'm going to, I have a cool idea here where I was like, what if you retired, but like you had a system where like, well, I set all this money aside. I'm going to start a wrestling school, and then I train another guy, and that's my new character that I start in this wrestling mode. And then,
it's like
then it keeps going. Exactly. I think that'd be cool. Like I really love this idea of like, true wrestling role playing. That's what I'm going for. Like the real indie experience. I think it'd be cool because it would open a lot of people's eyes to like what these guys go through and what they do for a living, because it's like crazy. And if you ever like want a good insight into it, go look up like some old Art of Wrestling podcasts. They're amazing. Like the personal stories from those are awesome. Like these guys are insanely cool. So
and those are my favorite parts of the story mode from last year, was like, you know, when they're like, you know, my parents like cut me off, and so now we have to get this shitty like used car, and like they're driving, you know, on the road, and one of them's asleep, and like that stuff was really neat. But then there was like a lot of weird, there's just like a lot of weird shit in there. And then, you know, I actually did like some of the dialogue a lot more than you did. But again, like just like this very schizophrenic, like, one moment you're totally kayfabe, and the next moment, like, you're completely breaking, you know, the fourth wall. And I don't know.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what to make of this.
You have to pick a side. You have to pick a side. That's why I went extreme one way on the one game and extreme this way on the other game, where it's like, no, this is the business. This is what's really going on. And the other side's like, this is what wrestling would be like if it was for real. Like if these guys were what they portray on TV, that's what I want for each different game. And I think that style would go, the style that you described earlier would go well with either one, because like you could kind of have like a fun, like comic book style for that. I could totally see that working for like this type of simulation thing. I think it even would work better, because like a realistic graphics type thing, I don't really know if that would work I don't like that in wrestling games. I think sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't work. So I'm into this. What else you got, Julian?
Well, next up is like sound and commentary. And, you know, I've actually kind of got two ideas here, and I think they actually will go with your two games. So excellent. In your arcade one, that's where I see like actually just doing like, all right, I don't even know who's doing commentary right now. Like, but whoever is the commentating team. I would say like, oh God, it'd probably be like Corey Graves and Michael Cole would probably be their main two. That's who they like a lot, I'm guessing. Yeah. All right. So you take them, but here's the thing is that instead of just having them come in for like 2 hours to just record some stilted lines that were like pre-written, I would actually get them for multiple recording sessions, multiple 3-hour recording sessions, right? And so what I would have them do is just sit them both down in a recording booth and just run some simulated matches. Yeah. Just with random characters, and just record all of that. And then you chop that up into the commentary, and then you have them come back to do pickups, like, you know, make sure that you say like this line or that, but like you have all of this stuff, and then you can actually use like machine learning and type of stuff to actually kind of like basically mesh that together to where like it picks up well, you know, and it doesn't feel stilted. Cause like I am so sick of like, I mean, it's never been good. Like the commentary has never been good. And, you know, like me and John Golson will always make fun of, I think it's SmackDown Just Bring It, where like some of the lines in there were like Michael Cole says like, fans are astonished to see the clothesline. And but the funny thing is that's the only time you hear that line, like they only match it up to clothesline, and it's always that read through. Or I've never seen a move like this, or I've never seen a match like this before. You know, or like not JR, like the King in one was like collusion, which I was actually saying a lot, you know, in the last couple of years because it was pertinent. Right. But no, I think you just sit them down and let them do what they do, right? And then you just bring them up for pickups for like, you know, obviously you want to have them like say like, okay, say these like random character names for like character creation stuff, you know, just so that they're in there or whatever. Like, but I think it would be a much more organic type of commentary. But my other idea I think is much better, which is you actually have in storyline, it's like a new announced team. So they're kind of starting at the same time that you're starting.
Yeah.
And so you just get voice actors and you just have them do voice acting. Right. So then you can do like a fully scripted, commentary if you want. Or like just have them do a bunch of stuff, but you have them for the amount of time that you get voice actors for, so that you just have them record a shit ton of commentary. So it actually sounds good instead of just, cause you know that like when they bring in like JR and the King, like they get them for like an hour. Right.
Yeah.
And that's all they record. And then they're done. They're like, and they just like, okay, yeah, okay, done. You know, it's like
those old guys do not understand that shit at all. They don't care.
Yeah. One, they don't understand it. Two, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, JR on commentary still doesn't fucking give a shit. Like, if you listen to that guy commentate matches on AEW, I'm like,
oh, really? Oh, because I've always liked his in-ring commentary, but I haven't heard him in a while.
He's not bad, and I give the guy a lot of credit. God bless him, he tries now, but like, it's one of those things where he's coming around to like the new style of wrestling, what wrestling has become nowadays. Yeah. But he's still in that, a little bit in that, I hate to bring it up again, but he's kind of a little bit in that Jim Cornette camp every now and then.
Me and Jenny, like whenever we would watch like Inspire together, and like we would see something that was like, you know, like they just messed up, like she would lean over and go, "He's exposing the business."
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause that's one thing that JR will say a lot. But as far as like his actual, like, you know, over the years, like his commentary, I've always enjoyed, but again, I haven't listened to him in a long time.
JR's best work in like the Attitude Era was basically, and I believe this was like on like Bruce Pritchard's podcast. Don't listen to anything new from him because it's terrible. But like his older stuff, I used to dig because it was like before he got signed back with WWE or whatever. And I remember he would talk about like some of JR's best performances was when King would just go out there and try to piss him off. Like, just try. And that's when you'd get frustrated, pissed off JR, and that was the best JR. And, like, you can hear it, like, when you go back and listen to it, like, when, like, King's on a roll just fucking with him, and he's just like, God, I hate everything. And he'll take it out on the match. He's like, what is he doing, King? This is awful. Like, he's just going off. That style, like, doesn't quite adapt to today's wrestling. He is coming around on it, though, and he is getting a little bit better, but, like, recently, like, he just tweeted out something about like Orange Cassidy. He was like, I didn't get it. He's like, I did not understand this gimmick at all, but I'm wrong. He's like, I was totally wrong. This thing, if you would ask me if this would ever get over with an audience, I would have said, no, you're insane. But I'm wrong. This is over. Like I'm very, and I get it now. Yeah. And I was like, that's cool.
I have a little bit of that too, because like, you know, to me, like the super kick is still one of the most amazing moves in wrestling. And so when the Young Bucks came up and they were just like doing them left and right all the time, I was like, no, you can't. Like super kick ends a match, right? Like because you decapitate the dude with that move.
Did you ever hear how they started doing that?
No.
So what happened was, the Young Bucks, like, basically what happened, their whole story was they got like cut from TNA, way back in the day when TNA wrestling was actually a thing. Basically they didn't see anything in them. And so they started booking all these indie shows and they're, doing whatever they were doing. They were the Young Bucks now and they're starting to get over. And they started doing the super kicks a little bit, not too much. Mm-hmm. And basically what happened, the whole super kick party thing happened is a guy, that was booking an event came up to him and was like, hey guys, I really need you to like calm down with the super kicks. And they were like, no. And then, so they instead went out there and just did as many super kicks as they could, and it got over with the crowd. And then the guy went up and was like, I was wrong. I'm sorry. That's,
all right. See, I definitely err on the side of like, no, you save that for very special moments because that, it cheapens it.
Well, there was a line of commentary that I really dug, and it was on the last AEW pay-per-view. I apologize to keep bringing up that shit. We're talking wrestling now. I apologize. There's a line of dialogue I really, really liked, and it was from It was Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, actually. So the older guys.
Right.
One of them a guy takes, I think this was an amazing tag team match with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. One of the best tag matches I've seen in a long, long time. Basically, guy takes like a Canadian destroyer and he kicks out. And the guy, and he goes, man, back in my day, that would have ended the match. And I think it was JR that said it. He's like, and then Tony Schiavone goes, athletes are different now. And it was like,
and which is true.
I like that. That's such a good explanation of it. Yes, athletes are different now. The sport has evolved. It takes more than that to do everything. And also another thing that I've always enjoyed was New Japan's explanation of finishing moves, because like a guy will win a match, Kazuchika Okada's finisher is basically a clothesline. Like, yeah, he grabs your arm and like swings you, does a thing and clotheslines you. It's called the Rainmaker. But it's just a clothesline. Yeah. So how does that end the match? Well, the way they explain it is when you do a move over and over and over again, eventually you become very, very proficient at that move and it becomes very strong. So you've powered that move up through repetition and that's your finish now. And I was like, that's a very Japanese way of looking at things, but I love it. I like that explanation. So that's cool to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a couple other things real quick on
Go for it.
Sound and stuff. I was just thinking about this just like on the fly. My third idea for commentary is that you just get impersonators. Like you get voice actors to do impersonations of Michael Cole and Corey Graves or whatever. And again, just to have as much time as possible to get all of the audio that you need to make a good commentary. Yeah. Cause the biggest problem is that it's repetitive and it's stilted and disjointed and it just doesn't flow. And I think the more audio you have, the better that comes out. And then lastly, as far as sound goes, dude, you need a soundtrack for a wrestling game, especially after playing the beginning of Doom Eternal. I just want the butt rockiest of butt rock metal, just like a metal ass soundtrack for a wrestling game. It's time to bring that back. Like that's how SmackDown used to do it on the PlayStation days. It is time to bring that tradition back. Like I just want awesome blistering guitar licks, while I'm doing tombstone pile drivers.
Right. All right. So my assessment here. I think your first idea is, was we just get guys in and we make them fucking sit down and actually record. WWE, that's going to be tough to do.
Right.
For the arcade version of the game, I don't know. That'd be tough. You could probably do it. You'd have to get some people that really gave a shit. Corey Graves is younger. He gets it a little more. You could probably do him, and you could probably do one of the other younger announcers. Just say fuck to Michael Cole. He's old. He doesn't understand anymore. Yeah. Let's get him out of there.
He's been in enough games.
Get Mauro Ranallo in there. Mauro Ranallo will be hyped. Have you ever heard him call a match?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's great. Just get him. He'll be so hyped with catchphrases up the ass. It'll be hilarious. We'll all laugh until we cry. Yeah. Get him in there to call over the top stuff. However you want to do it. For the simulation game though, the one thing you said was voice actors. And I was like, yes. Because for that game, I don't even know if I could associate that with a company because of the idea. It'd be tough to do. So just getting two guys that really give a shit and want to call matches, and are into it and are good voice actors and will sit there and do the work. Yeah, do that. Yeah. And I even like the story of these guys are coming up with you. You'd have to kind of play it differently in a simulation mode, but that'd be fine. Also, if you have an AEW game, Excalibur is amazing on commentary. Just let him call the moves. He'll be fine. I think that's pretty good. I mean, it's hard, man, because that's always the biggest criticism, and it's so tough to get that much voice acting. Audio is such that's what makes file sizes really big nowadays, is a lot of it's the audio. So it's tough, man. That's a tough thing to get right. So I would almost not. I almost kind of love the fact that Fire Pro doesn't have commentary.
That's another way that you could do it, or you do limited commentary where they just call moves, or maybe catchphrases on certain big things. Yeah, I'd be fine with that too, and that would actually again go with the comic book aesthetic. If you maybe just have it come up in comic book font, because I think there's older wrestling games that
would work. Yeah, that would really work. That would, yeah, I like that.
Like you see like a little cut out of like the announcer saying something like, "Oh my god," and like sort of like the toasty guy on Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, I dig that. Especially like if you're fighting in a mall or something, that would work really well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I dig it. Okay, so I guess I'm up next, right?
Yes, you are, sir.
Okay. I got Creator Wrestler. And basically, I just have like basics for each thing. Like, I need good hair, Julian. I need really good hair. It's the biggest problem I fucking face in any editor situation. And I love a character editor.
Also in life, let's be fair.
I mean, I envy people with hair, so I especially need good hair.
Yes.
I don't put it on myself. I like to be bald in games because I think it's fun. Or make bald characters, but I don't make everybody bald. Obviously, you need your pretty boys. You got to have them. But so I've been playing a game. I haven't played too much of it, but it has a really fucking amazing character editor, and that game is Nioh 2. The way they do hair in that game is really, really good, and I really need it in my life in just about every character editor because it's a fantastic basis for it. So basically, what they do is like, you choose kind of like a base hairstyle. So like you'll have like, okay, this is a ponytail. Now, basically you just pick bangs for the ponytail, and there's a bunch of different bang settings. And then you can pick what does the ponytail in the back look like? You switch that up. It gives you so much variety, and you don't have to actually have a whole lot going on. Does that make sense? Like, cause I can have like, everybody will look different this way. And you just do that with all your hair. You just make like, and not every hair. Mind you, there's some things that it won't work with, but that's a really great start, is you just do that. Like, just have the base, and then bangs, and then back. And then length setting. Let me turn that up and down. I want the long hair, or make it turn down to where it's really short, or whatever. That sort of stuff. I think, and Nioh does that a little bit. It doesn't go like super over the top, but like, That's the one thing is like, I was like, Nioh 2 also has like a ton of great sliders. There's sliders in that game that I'm like, I've never even seen this in a game or thought about it, but it's here and I'm glad it's here. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And we just need all the sliders, man. That's what we need. And like Nioh 2 doesn't like let you go super over the top because that game is like, it obviously can't because hitboxes. And that's something, when I was like thinking of this character editor, I was like, we do have to take that into account because, or else you'll have Soul Calibur 6 on your hands where people are making like, my guy is a giant orb and you can't see anything on the battlefield and they'll just hit you and you can't do anything about it because you don't know where the attacks are coming. You can't do that. So you have to be real careful and like kind of limit to some degree.
Well, okay. Some degree I understand.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Like, can we at least go back to like, cause I've said this on the show before, but like I made Tyrant on SmackDown Just Bring It because I was able to make one arm like extremely long and beefy, and I made the other one short and scrawny, so it actually looked like he had the giant claw. And he was also like 8 feet tall or something like that. And then I made Mega Man because I was able to make the Mega Buster by just like making his forearms super huge.
I think you could do the forearm super huge. Doing the really long limbs might be a little cheap. Depends. The arcade game, you can't get away with that on because it's a competitive game. And as soon as you start using it to break things like that, it's going to get out of control.
Well, that's the thing is that like he would still animate the same. It's just that sometimes there were certain moves where like his
arm would just completely go through.
There would be like clipping, or it'd be a thing where he would like be like there'd be like air between him and the other characters. Like, I'm fine. Like, let me break it that way. Like, if I'm gonna do something that's stupid, I expect it to look stupid in the match. I don't care. Just let me do it.
Okay, I got a better solution for that. And actually, it kind of ties into my other stuff. So basically, my other idea for that I want in a character editor is when you do attire stuff, I do like how 2K does a lot of their stuff. You can do a lot with like logos. Like, I make really cool stuff with just like logos I download on the internet and put through photo editor, like erase the backgrounds, do some cool stuff. I think that's great. I don't want to do face scanning. I think it looks weird. I always hate it. It always makes characters look like they're painted on faces. And I mean, there's some people that do it really well, but I don't really care for it myself. But I mean, you could always do it if you're putting logo stuff in there to where you can upload them and stuff like that. Also, I need material. What is the word I'm looking for? Overlays. I need material overlays. I need to make stuff look like the actual shirt that it's going on and not like it's painted on and super glossy. It makes it look weird. Please give me this. I need it. The other thing for like attire parts themselves, and this kind of goes into my hair thing where I was just like, hey, you have a base, and sometimes it'll just be the base. It depends on the hairstyle, but, or the attire in this case. The attire I'm kind of stealing this from things I've seen on the, what's that game? It's been suggested to me a ton of times because it's a Dark Souls game, but there's vampires.
Code Vein.
Oh, Code Vein, that one, you got it. I even have it written down somewhere. Code Vein, where basically like you can kind of use accessories to kind of like fill in certain spots. So I would like, hey, you have these trunks and hey, you want to put fringe on the trunks? Put fringe on the trunks. They go wherever you want to put that fringe, you put that fringe, baby. You put that fringe wherever you want it to go. Stuff like that, like just little add-ons here and there, all that stuff.
Brought to you by Swiftacre Farms, apparently.
Goddamn right. They're still alive. Jordan said they're dead. They ain't dead. But yeah, I need stuff like that. Like, just like I can add like accessories. So in the same vein as you were talking about, like, hey, I want to make like a giant arm. What if we just like let you just bolt a giant arm onto your guy? It doesn't have any like hitbox properties. It's kind of like almost like fringe. It's just fake on there, but you can just line that giant arm up and like it's cool. We won't go too over the top because then, like I said, you get giant. We'll balance it to where nobody's making giant spheres of people because that will be bad. But for the arcade game anyway, the simulation game probably wouldn't matter that much. You could do fucking whatever you want.
Justin, we're all going to be in quarantine for like the next like 6 to 9 months. We're all going to be giant spheres of people. Let's be honest.
I mean, that's fine. It'll be fine. I think that would be pretty cool. And I also demand, length settings for all the attires. Like I need to,
yes.
and especially on the waist. Waists are always too goddamn high in these games, and it pisses me off. Like I hate it. Like there's like one good pair of trunks or something, and there's like one good like shirt or something. And that's all you ever pick, and that's all you can do because you have to edit that. It's pain in the ass. Just length settings would do so much, man. I want to shorten the pants up. I want to shorten the tights up. Everything. Go
also,
ahead.
I have a request. Can you
Yes.
give me a goddamn nice-looking 3-piece suit for once so that I can finally make the Crazy 88 from Kill Bill? Because I just watched it again last night, and I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to make Johnny Moe and Go-Go, and I wanted to make, like, the dude with the really crazy hair, and then the other one with the big ears, but there's never a good suit in the game, so it never looks good. It should be a very simple character to create. It's just a black suit with a Kato mask.
Yeah, suits should be in there. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And like masks, you have to, it's the same thing with masks. Like you can make a lot of different masks with just like, hey, here's a ton of base masks, here's some accessories. Now you can put these however you want them, make them exactly how you envision this guy to go, make, whatever guy from whatever movie you want to make. You want to make Jason, that's cool. You got the tools to do that. However you want to flow. That's because I know like that's what a lot of people do with character editors, and I want to give them the options that they want. They like to make like things they've seen before, and I totally understand that. I think that's really cool. There are people that are really, really good at it. And I want to make that a thing that people can do is like, hey, I want to make Kenny Omega in this WWE game because that's what everybody does. So, I need all the good things to do that. So you have your logos, you have your accessories, you can do whatever Kenny Omega's wearing that week, you got it covered. You can, hey, Kenny Omega cut his hair, you can shorten the length down now, you're good. Keep updating it, it's fine.
Yeah. I do think that's one thing that they've really missed out on these wrestling games since the advent of like DLC is that like you should just do like free updates throughout the year if wrestlers update their looks or their entrance music and stuff. just throw that out there. Like if a wrestler comes up with a new finishing move, throw that finishing move in there and then have it to where you can update it and now they have that new finisher. You know, and then if you want, you can revert it, but otherwise, like here, like, and then you can pick like, hey, do you want like, you know, the most up to date version, or do you want to use like the older, like the base version? And like you know, because I also have made the argument for a long time that they should just release these games like every other year and just do like content updates to like refresh the roster and then let the team actually spend the time to make the game good. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they make more money doing it that way, so fuck all of us. It's the sad truth, and that's kind of why I've suggested this, like, hey, let's make 2 different games and cover all our bases, and then you could do it that way. You're releasing a game every year, and wrestling fans will still buy them. You know, like, I'd buy either one of these games and have fun with both of them. So, let's see. What else do I got? I don't have too much else. That's the things I really demand is just sliders. I do want the sliders to be like Nioh 2, like I said, has good sliders, but I like want to take that shit up a lot of notches. So where you can just like, if you want to make like E.T. as a pro wrestler, you can do it. Like you can make super skinny guy with a giant head if you want. Like it'll be all right. The hitboxes might be weird, but that's on you.
That's what I'm saying. That's how it was on Just Bring It On. I loved it.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people did, and I think that would be good to bring back, honestly. And me, I'd still make realistic people, but I'd have all the tools to make them really cool looking, and that'd be fun. Let's see. I have moveset stuff. I don't know. That's just movesets. Just pick moves. I like to pick moves. Well, let's see. Entrances. Depends on the game. One game, the arcade game, would be tough because, like, if your guy's entering a mall, like, you have to do an entrance for each arena. You can't make it super customizable in that aspect.
In a situation like a mall or something like that, you don't have entrances. You just have you just start with like the fight. You know, like I always like envision kind of the Def Jam style where they'd kind of like move their way through this crowd of people and then like do their little taunt, and that would be it. Like that's kind of what I have envisioned. So you pick a taunt, I guess. There you go. But like for an in the ring type thing, you'd have like a little entrance. I don't know how fancy I'd want to get with that for the arcade game. I don't think people really care that much about that stuff. I want the fanciest entrances. Like I want to like. Honestly, there's no way that you could actually get away with this, but I would love if you could actually like upload videos for your Titantron, like custom videos. But of course, that would get really bad real fast. On
the 2K games of old, and I know it's a pain in the ass. You could take clips of like your own matches and stuff and actually make them into entrance videos. It was really cool. And like you could like, if you had a cool shot of the entrance and you could capture that and like put that in your entrance video, put filters on it. It was really cool how you could do that and put like, you can put words and that would come up and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I have envisioned for the other game. Cause like that one would be like strictly like arena wrestling, so you could do a lot more elaborate entrances. And god damn it, if fucking Fire Pro Wrestling can let me upload music from a USB stick, you can do it too, WWE. Jesus Christ, man. Like, man, that's so much fun to do. Like when I have my guy coming out to Hellbent for Leather, it's just great.
But you should also be able to trim it in the game to get to the point that you want. Because I've always wanted to make Sephiroth and have him come out to One Wing Angel, but you don't want to have him come out to like the beginning of One Wing Angel because like you're not actually going to get to the good stuff by the time he gets to the ring. Even if you pick Triple H's entrance animations, like you need to just like cut it to the Latin stuff. well,
Julian, let me tell you about a thing I did with a little program called Audacity. I loaded up the music and would cut it to where I wanted it.
There you go.
And that's what I uploaded into Fire Pro.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I could like back in the 360 days when they were talking about being able to upload music, I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then I didn't like the way it was implemented. But now I know how to edit music. So you're right.
Exactly.
I can just do it
now
myself.
you can do that. Yeah, and you at home now you know how to. It's not hard. You could look it up, but or like so for that game. Like one thing I always hate about the WWE games is like you have to like if you have a long intro, you have to like select something with a long intro, or it's like you said, it'll never get to the good part of the song. So like I would make everything like you could time it out exactly how you wanted it. Everything would be on a timer. So like I don't want my guy to even hit the ramp until like a minute in or whatever. You could make that happen. Like I would let you do it. Your guy takes 10 minutes to get to the ring. Fuck it. Whatever. To live your dream, man. That's all I'm saying.
Got to have some of those WrestleMania Undertaker entrances.
Right. The other thing for like the simulation game that I really do like, and this is straight out of 2K20, like I wouldn't even really change it. I love the creative venue thing where like it's basically you just make like little arenas and stuff. I would make it a little bit more customizable maybe because I really dig that aspect. It's fun because it helps with like e-feds and stuff like that. They make their own rings and stuff like that. It's really cool. And like that's where their logos and stuff come in. That's pretty simple. That's almost cut and paste from the newer. That is an aspect I like of those games. Here's a weird one. And, well, here's two weird ones. Three weird ones. I'm sorry. 3 weird ones that I have, and one is a Fire Pro thing that I personally enjoy, but that I would not expect anybody else to engage with, and this is probably only on the simulation game that I have, and it's CPU logic. Are you familiar with CPU logic, Julian?
Oh yeah, this is where you like kind of program your wrestler to like wrestle by itself, right?
Yeah.
They've done that a lot in like fighting games over the years too.
Yeah, it's fun. I love messing with it, man. I've had a blast recently. Like that was another thing when I was like, I'm gonna rebuild this roster. I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna set all this CPU logic up to where they fight the way they should fight, and they go for the moves. It's really fun, like with the percentages and stuff. And I would put that in there just for like the people like me who is like, I want my guy to be going and trying to get a back grapple so that he can hit the one-winged angel all the time consistently, like I need him to do in the big spots and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so that's what that's what I've said on the show before is like on those older SmackDown games, I would create all these crazy characters and then just put them in like elimination battle royals in the store and just let it run. But the problem is that I think once they started doing SmackDown versus Raw, they made it to where like you had to like level up created characters individually to get their stats up. And so then it became like, well, everybody was shit. And so they couldn't actually do anything. And that's when that's when I started like basically stopped playing wrestling games. It was like, I'm not going to take all the time to like make 30 creative wrestlers and then level them all up independently. Like that's the worst idea.
Oh, that one. Oh God, I remember that game. Yeah, that one was really bad. And they only did it that year. After
I thought they kept doing it.
No.
Okay.
After they did it 1 year, I bought these for every single year. Believe me. Yeah. They did it 1 year. And I remember being like, this sucks because you're right. If you want them to be any good, you had to sit there and level them up. They never did it again after that. After that, they're like, just put them wherever you want. It's fine. Just they're 100 overall. It's fine. They stopped because people were like, this isn't fun. I don't want to sit here and do this for every guy. It's not entertaining after a while. So yeah, God, don't do that. No. That's a career mode only thing to me. Okay. The other one I have here is create a match. Because that's a good one. I want to have a ladder match, but also have landmines involved. I feel like people need to live that dream. So I really need that. Like there's create a match in WWE games. It's not very good. It's just like you kind of tweak rule sets and stuff. And I want to like, hey man, there's a landmine over here. We'll set, okay, this match, there's barbed wire pits everywhere. And like just get their barbed wire ropes match. Just go nuts. It's awesome. Destroy yourself. It's great. It's not. Don't do that. And the last thing I have, this used to be in WWE games, but it isn't anymore. And that's create a move or create a finisher. I used to love that. It was a little janky, but that was kind of what made it fun. This could work for either game because like the arcade game, like you could make these like really cool over the top things where it's like my guy jumps 20 feet in the air and like drops a guy on his head like Zangief pile driver style or something like that. It'd be super fun. And like the simulation game the same way, like you could make like a cool sequence like, hey, my guy like, you could make the exact Kenny Omega sequence where you're like, hey, I do the Canadian senton to people and then I hit the ropes and moonsault them or something like that. You could go nuts with it. Like, it'd be really fun. Like, that always makes like superstars and like, you know, wrestlers in general just like really cool is like if they have a cool finisher and if you can make your own finisher and have a dream thing in mind or like just, hey, I want this exact move, but I just want them to taunt while they're doing it because that's what this guy should do. That's what makes it his move is he does the taunt. See, that's the difference. There is, you laugh, but that's actually a thing that it happens in wrestling. But yeah, exactly. And that's what I want. I think that's a key aspect, and it make every wrestler feel different. So, and those are my ideas. I like them. I think they're good.
I'm ending on a real simple one, but that's fine because it's just whatever. Because I just wanted us to have 3 each. But roster, gonna make it real simple, Justin.
Okay.
It's gonna be 60 wrestlers. It's gonna be 30 from the main roster, and it's just gonna be like the top 30. And then 20 from NXT, top 20 people that you can find from there. And then 5 from the Attitude Era, 5 from the 80s, and you're done. We're getting rid of this whole thing where like there's like 18 different versions of Bayley and they're independent characters on the roster.
Yeah, they gotta stop doing that.
Yeah, you just have it as like skins that you can choose from, like any normal game. And because like a lot of times you'll play these wrestling games and it's like, okay, yeah, I get like you want to represent like everybody that's like on contract, but if you're not booking them, don't put them in the game.
Yeah.
Let's make some hard calls here. But, going back to your create stuff, give me the tools to make them if I want. Yeah. So like make sure that you have all of the entrance music and like Titantron videos for everybody that's on the roll,
that'd be tough. Yeah.
I mean, or you just download them, right? Like, just like say.
I was going to say, long as if you give people the ability to like upload the entrance videos or something like that, that would work out. As long as you moderate it, it's the same as images. Like, you can't upload like porn onto the WWE 2K site. Like, that shit will get taken down and you get banned. Like,
well, I'm saying like they have them available, but it's not on the disc, right? You just say like, hey, I want to download the entrance music and stuff for this wrestler.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably, I could see, like, it depends on, who's making the game. If we're making the game, we'd do that probably, but, like, if we're not making the game, like, just let other people upload them and let that be a thing. It'll be fine. There's already enough copyright violations going on. I don't think anybody's gonna be too upset by it. I agree. I'm totally with you on they put the same different versions of people in the fucking game. Like, we have Bayley 2007 over here, but now there's Bayley 2015. But Bayley 2007's like 2 points lower than the other one, so and she has maybe like one to move different. They're very different.
And her ponytail's on the left. Not the right.
That's very key difference. Key difference, Julian. I don't know if you knew that. No, that shit's fucking terrible. They need to stop doing it. I think it'd be tough to, like, say 30 guys from the main roster and 20 from NXT because fucking Vince McMahon's an asshole. He'd be like, no, my guys are way better than those guys, and he'd want a bunch of dudes. So I think what that comes down to is WWE kind of mandates it, and that's why I don't want to make a WWE game ever, because I fucking wouldn't want to work with those people, is they kind of go, hey, this is what we want the roster to be. Because fuck you. This is who's in our game. Make it happen. And that's what happens. And sometimes not everybody makes it because they come out later or something like that. They don't sign until way after the game's getting released or however that works. But it's tough, man. It would work for AEW, though. Make an AEW game. They have a smaller roster and everybody's fun on it. That would be the greatest game. I want that game.
I know that there's going to be one at some point. I'm very excited to see what that is.
Me too. I can't wait.
Wouldn't it be funny if Ukes made it and it ended up being phenomenal?
That would be amazing. It was WWE's fault the whole time, you guys.
Yep. Well, that is it for us, but we got a little bit from listeners. Not a ton, because, our listeners aren't necessarily big wrestling marks.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. First up, we got a few from Facebook, because not only did we get one from our regular commentator Adam Bradbury, but I've joined a couple like Facebook gaming groups just to try to like cast a wider net, and I actually did like throw some stuff out to the Austin area gamers group
all right.
that I'm in, and so we got a couple from them. But first up is Adam, and he says, for a wrestling game, I want simple arcade mechanics like in WWE All-Stars for last gen. Kind of just want a newer version of that game. I like the simple controls and over-the-top moves with giant flips and colorful lines. And honestly, that's really what I want. Right. I like All-Stars is my favorite wrestling game in ages, and I would like to see, because that one even wasn't as over-the-top as Def Jam Vendetta was.
Yeah.
And you know, because I've always wanted the Ready to Rumble for wrestling. Because if people remember Ready to Rumble boxing for like, you know, Dreamcast and PlayStation 2.
I used to love that game. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I want that, but with wrestling, and just go crazy. You know, let me do like a 30-foot in the air, like leaping pile driver. Like I don't like, it's fine.
That's exactly how I want that arcade game to be. I have just the game for you, sir. Yes.
Yeah. And then, real quick ones from the Austin area gamers. Michael Fujiwara says, perfect wrestling game, King of Colosseum 2 with updated graphics and an AEW license. Justin, are you familiar with King of Colosseum? Because I have never heard of that.
Please enlighten. Okay, can I Google it real quick? Am I allowed to do that?
You can do that. I will edit it. I will edit this while you Google.
Okay, so it's definitely a Spike game, and I'll tell you why. Spike Chunsoft, like Fire Pro Wrestling has like modes in it to where there's like you can do like UFC fights. So I'm guessing this is just like a 3D version of that, but probably just like maybe like a little bit simpler mechanics or different mechanics. Get back to us on that. I'm really curious on the mechanics. After the podcast is over, I might have to look up how this plays because I'm super interested in it. That's really cool. I'm glad I learned a thing today.
Yes, and lastly, over at Facebook from the Austin area gamers, we have Chris Olvera, who says, I think my perfect wrestling game today would have the gameplay of WWF No Mercy with graphics like WWE All-Stars. It needs to also have a highly customizable creator wrestler. I don't know why they decided to go sim in wrestling games. Wrestling games to me growing up were not about simulation at all. And I think we all agree with you.
Well, I do to some degree, but I do want like a sim game, but I want it to be it has to be a very different type of sim game. That's
right. I think what we're saying is that they're simulating the wrong parts.
Exactly.
Of wrestling.
They need to make up their mind. Exactly.
Yes.
If they're gonna go over the top, I agree with them. Yeah, they need to go way over the top, and I'm with him on the simplified mechanics. I even said like, yes, just bring back the Aki engine and make it really, really good this time.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is that it from Facebook?
Yeah, we'll head on over to pixelbit.com. That's a website.
That's a website that you can find on the internet. And you can leave us comments, and some of them may sound like this. Our first one is from San Andreas, and he says, wrestling isn't my cup of tea. Well, I'm sorry for this entire episode. Well, we did apologize up front. It's fine. I did play the occasional WWF game in the NES/SNES era. I might try wrestling if it were included as a minigame in an RPG or adventure. Twilight Princess had a couple of sumo wrestling segments in it that were kind of fun. I did notice that Take-Two doesn't seem to be using Ukes anymore for its WWE games, and is trying to just utilize their California studio visual concepts. Spoiler alert, it didn't work out. Maybe if Final Fantasy VII Remake included it in the Wall Market segment or the Gold Saucer Arcade. I don't want that. I'm not going to lie to you, man.
But, okay. But what if Yakuza 8 had a full-on, like, New Japan storyline mode where you just straight up do wrestling?
Oh, that I'm into.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a fun Yakuza minigame that actually did have to do with wrestling.
Lots of them do.
Yeah, well, this one, obviously, there was a lot of pro wrestlers in there. No, there was in Yakuza 6, you could go to an underground female wrestling thing and bet on the competitors. And like you could cheer them on and they would do like different moves depending on what you picked or something like that. It was almost like a rock, paper, scissors thing. I don't know. Superstep's going to correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was Yakuza 6 and it was fucking hilarious and fantastic. Or was that 0? Pretty sure it was 6. But yeah, man,
I
really
think
funny.
that was 0 because I remember
Was
doing
it 0?
that.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. As soon as I said, I was like, it wasn't 6, was it? I was like, it was 0. Yeah. And 0, that was fantastic. That was so dumb. It was great. So yeah, you know what? More wrestling minigames. That's what Mr. San Andreas wants from us.
Yes. Next up is Xrian, who says, I'd go for a nice mix of the old arcade one where moves were over the top, but with the controls of the golden era N64 games like No Mercy. Imagine pile drivers where they can fly high like when someone in NBA Jam is on fire. Yes, please.
Indeed.
He says, definitely need a solid create a character mode. There must be a way to go into the back rooms by going up the ramp. Tons of crazy-ass weapons. Wrestlers from all eras and companies would be fun. Also throw in some crazy off-the-wall ones, kind of like how WCW NWO Revenge did. Oh, I gotta say, if you listeners, if you haven't seen the attract mode for WCW NWO Revenge for the N64, you need to go look that shit up right now.
That shit is amazing.
It's so good. Like when we're talking about great. Like, let's just lean into the craziness of wrestling, that thing does.
Yes, it's great. It's amazing. Yes.
And then lastly, Xrian says, all the match types you can think of, also including the ones that have been lost to time, like coffin matches, fire matches, and such. They also need to add that water arena that a WCW would use every so often. There's a water arena?
Okay, I didn't Google it, and I don't remember this. A couple things. Yes, I did not. I swear I didn't even read any comments. I made it a point not to read any comments while I was making my game, and then I went in and was like, okay, now I can read comments on what got left. So me and him are on very much the same page here. Also, I have no memory of this water arena. What is he talking about? I don't
know. You're gonna have to comment
arena?
on that and let us know.
Well, here's the thing. Here's a fun wrestling fact for people. There was and this was immediately what came to mind. I was like, is he talking about there was a Japanese death match where guys had to enter the ring through jet skis. Okay. They would get in the ring was surrounded by water. And whenever one guy would get thrown over the top rope, a landmine would go off in the water and like blow them up, and they were out of the match. And then they'd have to get carried off by a jet ski. This was a real match that happened in real life.
Okay, that's awesome, but that's actually, I'm looking at it now. It's actually, it's basically just a ring surround like that was built on top of a swimming pool. And so you could get thrown like over, like basically, so like think of like so there's the ring, and then there's the structure that the ring is built upon that also has its own set of guardrails, and then obviously I'm sure at some point someone would get thrown over the guardrails into the pool and get wet. Oh my god.
I like my idea a lot better. With the death match.
Now, but
fun. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna say, like, if we're going like real realistic, and we have like really like we're going like next gen, and we have like really good like cloth physics, and then we have like 2002 era Trish Stratus, and then you throw her in the like. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. I was always more of a Stacy Keibler guy myself, but
I get that. I think for me a lot of it, like, because Trish was also just like badass in the ring, where Stacy Keibler was just really pretty to look at.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Yeah, you're very right on that.
I would have figured you would have been more of a Lita man myself.
No, I don't really care for Lita. She got older and got tattoos. I think she's cool now. Yeah, it's weird. I was like, oh no, you know what? You're cool now. And she had like the shoulder tattoo. I think that's what always turned me on. I was like, that shoulder tattoo sucks. Like, it just doesn't look very good. I'm sorry. But she worked around it now and it looks really good. So fuck me, I guess. Anyway, up next we have Superstep. And he says, honestly, I think we're ready for a wrestling game in the style of No Mercy, WWE, 2K, whatever, etc. But with video game characters, like a wrestling Smash Brothers, but with cross-platform characters. Otherwise, just a limitless customization system. with every copyrighted song known to man available for intro music. And we just upload it from a USB. It'll be fine. I already like wrestling games fine, so maybe that's why I'm not being so creative with this. Nah, you're fine. That's pretty accurate. That's what a lot of people want, man.
I would love just like a crazy video game battle royale wrestling type game. The closest we've ever gotten to anything like that is Simpsons Wrestling on the PS1, and it's dog shit. But it's also not even really a wrestling game. It's more of just like a weird, like, Power Stone style game in a ring, but it's on PS1 instead of Dreamcast, and it's bad.
Can I interest you in judo in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for the Nintendo Switch? Surprisingly deep fighting game mechanics.
That almost made me buy that game on the Switch when I saw that, because like that looks really weird and fun and cool.
I watched some people play it. I was like, I almost want to play this because it actually looks fun. I know I'll hate the game after like an hour. I'll be like, I'm done with this. That was fun, but I'm done. But like, it looks so dumb that it was entertaining. And there was like a lot of like little cool Nintendo graphics things. Anyway, what do we have next?
Last but not least, we have Casey Curran, who says, not a big wrestling fan, but I do love Iron Sheik and would be down for a beat 'em up starring him. It's funny that he mentions that, because I just randomly, I looked up some footage of WWE Betrayal from the Game Boy Color. It might be actually be WWF, because it might be that old. But that is a Final Fight style brawler that stars, you can pick from Stone Cold, Triple H, or The Rock, and you're trying to save Stephanie McMahon from some kidnapper.
Why would they try to save Stephanie McMahon? That doesn't make any sense.
Because if you do, then Vince will give you another title shot. You're doing it as favor for Vince.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying. I was very confused.
But the name of the game is Betrayal, so guess what?
Oh, yeah. I didn't put that together, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't put that together.
But it's these cute squatty versions of these wrestlers, and you punch and kick, and then you start doing wrestling moves. And the fun thing is, like, when the game starts, you're literally just beating up the referees and the mechanics backstage for no reason. You're just like, fuck you guys, I gotta go save Stephanie.
Right. That's how it should be. Okay, let me pitch this idea. What if for his Iron Sheik game? What if it's the Iron Sheik in Die Hard Arcade?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm into it.
Do you get a button that allows you to just spew obscenities and racial epithets?
Yeah, we might have to censor it a little bit. I don't know. But sure. Yeah, I mean, we'll bleep it. People will know what's happening. It'll be fine. So now we're over on Twitter, right? Or did I miss somebody? All right. Nope. Over on Twitter, the first one I have here, and I'll confirm again, is David Portnoy.
That's what I see. All
right. And he is at David Portnoy. I like how I read that. I'm a fan of it. I'm going to keep doing it that way. He says, if you make myself laugh, he says, I'm not a wrestling game person, but if they get DJ Cucumber Slice from the NBA Street Games to commentate, I'd buy one.
Yes. And actually, because the last idea that you had for commentary works, right? Where we just have somebody call off the moves, right? Slip and slide. Off the chain. Like that.
Yeah, that
would totally work.
That totally works.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I don't know if DJ Cucumber Slice is available, but we'll find somebody like that.
Honestly, because you brought it up, and I forgot that it was an EA Big game, but because Def Jam Vendetta was under the EA Big license,
yes,
we just need to bring back EA Big. Like that, those were the best like games that they've done in the last 20 years.
I'm really hoping that like 2K NFL license is where that's going, because they got 2K can make NFL games now, but they can't make simulation NFL games.
Right.
So I'm hoping they start making more arcade style stuff and they're good, and people actually go, oh, hey, these are good things for people who don't like sports, because I love those types of games. I thought they were really fun.
I bet they could get the Blitz license for a song.
Probably.
Yeah. Because I think that's, well, I don't even know who has that anymore. It's not EA though.
Right.
So, it might be Acclaim.
Are they around anymore?
I mean, sorry. Wait, Acclaim?
Claim, yeah, Midway did those.
Sorry.
Midway did the NFL Blitz.
Yeah. I didn't mean to claim I'm in Activision.
Yeah.
The other big
God,
one with the A.
If they own it, yeah, you're never getting it off of them. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, there goes that idea. We tried.
Next up on Twitter, I have JD on Twitter at a myth known as JD. And he says, my perfect wrestling game, eh? For me, gameplay-wise, it would be similar to WWE Day of Reckoning 2. That's a GameCube game, if anybody is forgetting. He says, the game was generally underrated, but had fast-paced combat while also having a lot of scenarios and mind games ripe for PvP. You can tell JD works in video games. You had a counter for grapples and punches, different types of submissions to optimize your character's stamina, and ended up being a ton of fun to play. Mix that with the wealth of customization options of something like Fire Pro Wrestling, and gameplay-wise, you'd have a good base. I feel like the WWE games have the right idea, but the worst execution in terms of content, though. It's kind of hard for me to say exactly what would work for a story mode, because on paper, a lot of their start-from-the-bottom stories are what I would have wanted, but in all of those cases, I just get bored by the time I get out of NXT. Kind of like real WWE.
Yep, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Day of Reckoning 2 made it interesting by actually making the story really captivating with twists and an actual redemption story at play. Taking the story seriously would amplify the experience. Let me befriend or make enemies with people in NXT. Let something happen in my creator wrestler that demands some kind of grand story that carries from NXT to the eventual WrestleMania stage. Hell, the way things are, you don't even need to get promoted. Let the player be an NXT guy that gets floated around to main roster shows due to the story. Think Rhea or Angel Garza, but on a bigger scale. I don't know, though. That's at least what I have in mind for now, at least. As always, I'll listen and hear ideas that sound great as well. I really like that idea of like actually almost like a maybe in like a BioWare sense where you have like some dialogue options or something between matches and you start to form alliances and like make enemies, and then that actually does carry over throughout your entire career instead of just for like the next like pay-per-view, like actually like no. Right. This guy really doesn't like you, and he's never going to work with you.
That was kind of like that thing when I brought up when I was like, oh, hey, like this guy approached you like to be your manager or whatever. That was kind of the idea I had there. Yeah. It's something similar to that. I would love if the story just like completely branched from there, you know, and like it goes on a tangent from this is the career choice you picked, this is the trajectory you go. That'd be really fun. So yeah, I like his idea too. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
he has a lot of hardcore fighting game mechanics going on there, but hey, man, God bless. I like it. After that, we have our old buddy Xavier Krieger, and he is at, where is he at, Julian? I can't quite read that.
At Cadus Bane.
Thank you.
And yeah, he actually said that he's caught up on the show because he'd been kind of away, and that's why we hadn't heard from him. So, welcome back, sir. Good to hear from you again.
Always good to hear from you, sir. He says, wrestling. So I have never been super into wrestling, but I did used to play the games, and it was mainly because of character creator. I want super in-depth character creators so I can create anything from random video game or anime characters. That's what a lot of people like, and I'm into giving that to them. Politicians that need a smackdown or even pit our favorite podcast hosts against each other. I'm very easy to make if you want to make me out there. I am Beard Glasses Hat Man, and you got it. That's
the end because he.
That's the end. Great,
yeah,
thank you.
He messed up and put stage select for cage match. So
okay, got it. I was very confused. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I love create modes. I haven't really engaged with them in the last few games that I've played just because they're so slow. So maybe with like this next generation where things are supposed to like load faster and stuff like that, like maybe that'll get me back into it. Cause, you know, I like when I played, cause I bought, I think 2K16. Because I wanted to make the Inspire Pro roster, and I started to make Steve Orino, who's like, he's Mr. Inspire Pro. He's like one of my favorites.
Right.
And he had, at the time, he had like, just like this streak of like black hair in his blonde hair. And I was trying to color that, and it was taking so interminably long.
Dude.
and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah, the hair dye system in 2K is so obnoxiously bad. It's very bad. There is a trick to it. I'm not going to get into details. I've spent a lot of time with those editors. I know them inside and out. Like, if ever anybody ever was like, you should make a video tutorial, like, it would be like insanely in depth and multiple parts, because I know my way around them. But yeah, and I agree. They are a little bit slow. I'm just like, I'm extremely patient when it comes to making things. Like, I'm the type, like I just said, I'm the type of dude who will sit there and make Fire Pro Wrestling CPU logic and painstakingly go through, no, he didn't do this thing right, I gotta go back in and edit everything now.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. I'm very detail oriented when it comes to stuff like that.
And I used to be, and it's not like a situation where it's like I don't have the time now, but I think it's just like on those older games, I was like, I had an idea in mind, and then I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and then I could execute it. Where here, It's like I have an idea, I know what I want to do, but then I'm just like, I feel like I'm sitting and waiting for stuff to load, and I'm like, yeah, okay,
it's also that, and what ends up happening a lot of the times is those character editors are detailed, but they are still limited by certain things. So at some point, your idea is going to run into a roadblock, and you have to work around it. And a lot of times people don't have the patience, and I don't blame them. So you have to give people the tools outright to really like put their random crazy ideas into the game. Like, you just have to do it and make it easy for them. You can't, like, not everybody's going to be expected to like, oh, hey, I need to like you were saying, hair dye. Like, that's a pain in the ass to do, because you make a streak. Oh, fuck, I moved the analog stick just slightly to the left and now everything's wrong. I have to do it over again. And it doesn't just like go back from one move. It resets the entire thing. Yeah. So the trick here, I'll just tell you, the trick is to make the dye part their actual hair color and then color the rest in. It's actually a lot easier to do. It's weird, but it actually, I got way too many tricks. Anyways.
Next up, we have Jeffka on Twitter at Jestoff. And he says, as someone who has just started even scratching the surface on wrestling, there's only one thing I think I can bring to this conversation. Jeffka, I love the fact that, like, we're going on this journey of RPGs and wrestling with you. We are here for it.
Gotcha, bud.
He says, just go balls to the wall. Make it ridiculous. I'm thinking very Yakuza-style moves where people should be absolutely dead from it, but they just shrug it off. In fact, let's go even further, even more anime. Think like someone stunning their opponent, climbing onto the ropes, then jumping into the clouds, breaking the ceiling along the way, only to bring down an elbow that cracks the country in two. The best thing about wrestling is its entertainment value, so just go crazy. Maybe the WWE games are just more realistic, but that's the kind of shit I'd want to see. Yep. Yes, that is what I wanted from those Ultimate Muscle games, and they kind of pulled back a little bit too far, where it's like, come on, guys, like, this is literal anime, like, just go as crazy as you want.
I agree. Just over the top, man. That's what we're shooting for in at least one of those games. Like I said, my sim game, a little bit different. That's some people's cup of tea. That's the E-Fed people. That's the 2K community. That's what they'd probably dig. But yeah, the over the top thing is for everybody else that like doesn't really care about wrestling, but thinks those games are fun because they are. And that's why I made two games, because I was like, I am very weird in this category. So anyway, after that we have good old Blaine Fea, and he is at Blaine Fea. I forgot my bit about Twitter names and actual names already, so fuck me. Anyway, he says, oh balls, it's already Friday. It's actually, never mind. Well, hopefully this is in time for my wrestling game. I just want them to embrace zaniness. Like, don't make me actually be good to do awesome move. Oh, okay. Like, don't make me actually be good to do awesome moves that I see on TV. Okay. Realism should not be a priority. It's been years since I've tried a wrestling game, so I couldn't even tell you which one it was, but I know it was too hard to figure out how to do the super cool moves, and that was not fun. And that's all he says.
Yes. No, and that's true. You know, it's kind of funny because, like, as much like I really loved those Acclaim games, like I said, like on the PlayStation 1, but there you actually did fighting game style moves to do your stuff. So it was like forward, grapple, or like down forward strike and stuff like that. But I really dug that. But that's probably a little too difficult for most people to do. So I do think it should just be like, hey, you know, light strike, heavy strike, and then like, you know, grapple and then run and, you know, just simple.
Exactly. Like No Mercy. Yeah, that was what you described there was always my biggest criticism of those old Acclaim games was you were doing fighting game moves, which works on like a 2D plane, but when it's in 3D, sometimes things are like a little too inaccurate sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that was always my issue with them. I played the shit out of those games too. I liked them myself because I loved wrestling at that time and I loved the games. But that was always like one thing, even as a kid, I was like, yeah, this is a little awkward to like do the stuff. So yeah,
especially,
you gotta keep it simple.
If you ever look in the instruction manual in those games, there's also like all this like weird math about how the game figures out like what to prioritize. Like when you if you go to tie up and then you both do inputs, like there's this whole thing about like, oh, well, if you do this weaker thing, then it goes first and blah, blah, blah. Like it's this whole like other like level to the game that it probably they shouldn't have like said that in the instruction booklet. Just like, these are the moves and this is just go, because otherwise then you start thinking like, wait, so now I'm trying to strategize, like what do I actually do when I'm in the grapple, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it doesn't need to be that complicated, guys. And hopefully, the stage select idea that you have for next episode isn't that complicated, because I feel that I inadvertently like alienated some people with my first stage select of the year.
It was a lot of wrestling talk. Again, we apologize up front, so we're covered. No big deal. I have something, it's a little interesting, and I'm really curious how it's going to play out, but I think it'll be good. So Julian, next episode, I have something pretty simple. I want to know people's favorite games that they've never actually played. Yeah. I am a person who enjoys watching games, and there's a lot of stuff that I've never actually touched myself, but I know stuff about. And I like hearing stories about it. And I want to know, like, if other people out there, like, have those types of games, or if they just, like, there's just pie in the sky game that they've never actually gotten their hands on and played, but they just love the look of it or something. I want to know people's favorite games that they never actually played.
Awesome. That'll be easy to do. One popped in my head immediately.
Exactly.
So yeah. Yes.
I think we all have that one game where we're like, I've never played it, but man, that game's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so we're going to want those by 8:30 Central Time on March 3rd. April 3rd. We're in March. I don't even know what's going on this year, guys. What is time?
Throw 2020 in the trash.
You can go to pixelbit.com and comment in the show thread for episode 172. You can DM us at MWPcast, or you can go to facebook.com/nerdswithoutpants podcast and send us a message there. But that's going to do it for stage select. So why don't we jump on into Consumption Junction? Yeah, and Justin, why don't you go ahead and kick things off? Because I've gone first the last couple episodes, and that's normally what I do.
All right, well, let's see. What did I play? I played a weird game that's going to sound like I played it because it's a bad game, and I swear to God I didn't play it because it was a bad game. I played it for a reason. It's called Maxx Gentleman Sexy Business. Now, hear me out on this one. So I played this game because the person who did our theme song, Megan McDuffie, actually did voice work for it, and she tweeted it out. Oh, okay. And I seen it, and I went, this game looks so dumb, I need to play it. And so I did. It's basically like a dating sim clicker roguelike. So definitely not for everyone. Yeah. So basically, like, you get...
I would love to hear the elevator pitch for that from the developer. Like...
it's kind of like old-timey English businessmen. And all the speak is like that. Like, I do say, good sir, that type of stuff. The dialogue's actually really funny. Like, I legit laughed at it a couple times. The writing's pretty good. Like, it's super over the top and stupid. It knows exactly what it is. There's like light dating sim elements. It's basically a clicker. If you've ever played a clicker, you know what you're getting into. Like, I get a man, I put him in a thing, he makes money. I put him in another thing, he gets this stuff. And then you put them in an arena to fist fight people in the streets to take over their business. You know, simple stuff.
Wow. Your definition of clicker is a lot different than mine.
The clicker element's kind of like, sometimes if the people are unhappy, it's like a lot of resource management, basically. Like, if the people are unhappy, you have to click on the buildings because they'll riot like certain facilities that you have. There's a riot at the bank, you gotta click all the people off, and that's basically it. But yeah, like, the writing was super dumb. Like, as you level up the people and make them happy and like you more, like, you can pick decisions that like make them love you more or something. You go on dates with them. They're all like real over the top and stupid. It's definitely not taking itself seriously. It has like a kind of a neat little like create a character mode in it. Like, it's, you know, 2D create a character. Like, you just pick an eyes and nose and like basic stuff, but it still added something to it. And like, you get to make your rival. So like, I made myself as my rival, which was pretty hilarious, because like, it was just me carrying a dog and talking like the worst shit in the world. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right, that's accurate. So I had a good time with it. I'm not gonna say like go out of your way, you have to play it right now. There is some not safe for work elements in there. You can turn them off though. It is an optional thing. So, you know, don't let that hinder your enjoyment or non-enjoyment of it. Like, basically, if you go on a date, you can like, you get nudes sent to you. Hooray. Or you don't, because you turn that element off. But, it was a game. It entertained me for like a day or two, and that was all it needed to do. I had a decent time. The other game I played, I really like a lot, actually, and it's called Yes, Your Grace. Have you heard of this game?
I have. I watched a little bit of the Giant Bomb quick look on it.
So,
and it reminded me a lot. It reminded me a lot of this mobile game that I played called Rain. Or Rains.
It probably could actually work as a mobile game pretty well, I imagine. Because basically, it's a very simple art style. You're basically just making choices, and they always feel wrong. They always feel very bad. It's pretty much just resource management for the most part. I kind of dig the style it has for some reason. It's not the world's greatest style, but it works for what it's going for. And like, I really dig like the little like voices that everybody has, because like sometimes you'll get like a noble guy who comes in there and he just has like, they all talk in like this gibberish language. So like, a guy will come in and he'll be like, and you immediately go, oh, I get what this guy's all about. I immediately get his vibe. Like, it's kind of cool how they did that without having actual voice acting. Basically, you're just, like I said, it's just resource balancing. Like, you have gold supplies, like troops, happiness, and then like times you can have like generals and stuff like that, and they'll go out and do stuff. But like, you never feel like you have enough of anything, because like and then sometimes you'll be like, dude, I just gave 14 gold to this guy for his wedding, and now you're asking me for this other more serious thing, but I can't actually do it for you. And fuck, I wish I wouldn't have made this decision, but I'm living with it. It's fine. And you just keep going. And basically, like, it just keeps ramping up to like a big events. Like, there's a battle coming. We need troops. And now all of a sudden you gotta add troops to your stuff. But hey, you gotta feed the troops too. So you're slowly hemorrhaging this resource. So you gotta find a way to get that resource. It's a lot of balancing, which I dug. I really liked it. I liked a lot of the characters in it. So basically, you play as the king. He's, you know, just kind of generic king man. You can kind of play him however you want. But like, I loved his youngest daughter. His youngest daughter was named Sidani, and like, her whole thing was, she basically, the opening of the game, I don't care for, because it's it's very old timey. It's very we'll say historically accurate. I like to compare it to Game of Thrones, where it's like, hey, my daughter turned 13, time to get her a husband because got to do it. And it's like, fuck, man, that's, it's a little uncomfortable. But I was like, Game of Thrones, fine, I get it. Like, but you don't have a choice in that one because that's how they set their entire story up. And basically, you marry your daughter off to this dude and like, yeah, you don't get a say in that matter. You just have to do it, which I kind of hated, but it makes the decision with your other two daughters that much more important because of what your other daughters, what you did to the other daughter, and you felt bad about it. So I kind of understood how they were doing it a little bit. I especially like the youngest daughter. Her whole thing was your oldest daughter, when she moved away for this other husband, took the cat that this youngest daughter loved. So now she's trying to replace it with as many pets as possible. So she brings home like a snail and is like, this is my new pet now. His name is Smudge. And then Smudge gets some things happen. And then the next one, she brings a porcupine, or no, it's a hedgehog. And she's like, this one's named the Stabber. In like all capital letters. And I was like, she's fantastic. She's great. The other one's like kind of your rebellious teen daughter, and I liked her a lot too. She's just like constantly pranking people, and she has a really cool arc. At least in my game she did. I felt like I did good things in my game, and I was a pretty good king, and I enjoyed that game a lot. I like the music of it in it too. The opening theme's pretty good. I almost want to say it's heavy metal Game of Thrones music, which I kind of dig.
I could be into that. Yeah.
Dude, okay, I almost want to look up a thing and send it to you. You should look up a song. It's from the end credits of the game. It's fucking awesome. That song came out. I was like, dude, this shit is fucking good. Like, I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, I dug the overall vibe that the music was doing. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I liked that game. I thought it was pretty good. Had a good time with it. I think I played it for like maybe a couple days and that was it. Yeah, and I had a good ending. And like I said, that end credits theme song, pretty good, guys. Pretty good.
That's pretty impressive because, like, just from the little bit that I watched and then listening to Vinny talk about it on like the Beastcast, it sounded like, this game is just bleak and there's not much that you can do about it. But
it gives you that feeling, but there are ways. I screwed up my first playthrough. Like, I fucked everything up, and then I went back the second time, kind of knew a little bit better of how everything worked and where I was going in the story. And the second time I just nailed it.
Yeah.
So it's maybe a little run based, which I kind of like because it's pretty easy, especially when you know the dialogue, the parts that you've already been through, you can kind of click through. But I liked it. The other game I played, I talked about a little bit earlier, and I'm not going to talk about the character creator in it, but Nioh 2, the game is hard as fuck.
I was like, okay,
damn.
You had mentioned to me that you were thinking about picking it up just because of the create mode, and I was like, I don't know what you're doing, man. Like, I don't understand the way that you justify your game purchases because, like, you have gone on record many times saying that you don't like hard games.
Listen. I wanted to dip into the Souls series a little bit. I've been wanting to. It's just, I need a reason to get in there. And the character creator was like, dude, I gotta take this thing out for a spin. Like, I've bought games for dumber reasons than that. So, I will say this. I beat my head against it for 3-4 hours. I can't get past like the first level. That game is hard as fuck, man. I don't know if the Souls games are for me. I'm going to try a different one. People have been suggesting Code Vein because they've been like, hey, this game has a really great character creator and it's a little bit on the easier spectrum. Yeah, this is probably a good game for you to try. And I'm like, okay, I'll give that a shot. So I do plan on getting into that. I haven't done it yet. Been into other things like Skyrim modding. That's a whole other beast. But I just really wanted to try the character editor. But man, that game is hard. Like, but I did find like some satisfaction where I was like, okay, I'm starting to figure this out. But then like I'd get super far, like way farther than I did the last time. And I was like, man, I'm getting really good. I'm figuring this out. I'm doing the thing that I feel like I'm getting why people like these. And then like something would bullshit kill me. I'm like, fuck this game. I'm done. I had to start all the way back where I was. I'm like, fuck this. I don't get it. I don't see what you guys like. Like, that's why I didn't like Control. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like that game design. Like, I don't like the far out checkpoints and like start over from the thing and then have to go find your body to get all your stuff back. And I'm not sure I dig that, but
so the really cool benefit of it that isn't really explicit when you start playing those games is that you learn the levels in ways that you don't in other games. And that's very rewarding, where it's like,
right.
You know, cause I like, there's parts of Bloodborne, like, even though I haven't played it since like the year it came out, that I can still like map out in my head. And I didn't even play that game very much. I only played like maybe 17, 18 hours of it. But it's a thing where it's like you become very intimately aware of the environment, and there's something very cool and satisfying about that. But it also depends on the game, because like, you know, as I said on the show, like the thing that really frustrated me about Sekiro is that it really felt like the game was teaching me a way to play it that was wrong. And I felt like, you know, and I was like, just with discussions I had with people, it's like, well, that's not what the game's telling me. That's not what the game is showing me. The way that you're telling me to play it is not what I was shown. And, you know, cause like, they're like, oh, well, no, they're telling you how to do this. And it's like, well, but no, they're not. Like, you know, like literally like this one boss, like the whole parry thing that they've been teaching me to do up to that point is useless on him. Like, you're just supposed to like dodge roll like you do in all the other games. And it's like, that's fine, but that's not how I thought I was supposed to approach this game. But I did think like Bloodborne did a very good job of teaching me how that game needed to be played, you know?
I've heard Bloodborne is another one that is very well done in that category, and maybe I'll check that out at some point, because because exactly what you were saying with the level thing and how you get to learn those levels. I have that like opening section. I know exactly where to go, and like I know a lot of shortcuts to stuff, which I thought was really cool, how I found ways around guys that I couldn't beat and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I learned how to kind of cheese certain enemies, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I get it. But then I'd get to a part and I'd die, and I was like, but now I have to start all the way over and hopefully make it back to that part and not die, and it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. And I just give up, because I give up very easily. That's the story of Nioh 2. I'll probably keep giving it a shot, because I love the way my character looks. She looks fucking great. She looks awesome. And I do like to kind of, I don't know. It's a complicated situation. Anyway, I have a really short one, because I played a game I really fucking hate, and it's going to be really short because I'm just going to name the game and say, don't play this game because it fucking sucks. Rune Factory 4. It's like Stardew, but it's fucking garbage. Don't play that shit.
Yeah, that is like the RPG version of Harvest Moon. It's from like the same developers, but
yeah, it's really bad. After playing Stardew, I was like, oh, this is like baby's first Stardew Valley, but there's like less to do, and all the characters suck, and I hate everything about it. The writing is terrible. I was immediately like, oh no. Somebody was kind of like, hey, have you ever played these games? And they didn't say they played them. They didn't tell me to try them. I was like, no, I've been meaning to try that one, because I know there's like marriage options, and like it sounds super funny. I'll try it out. It's not funny. Don't try it. It's bad. It's just a bad game. And that's all I got to say about that.
You should have tried Reciteer that I suggested to you instead of getting that. I think you would have had a much better time with that.
Reciteer. What was that one again?
You run a shop for RPG characters, basically.
You're right.
But it's got,
I should have tried that.
Real fun script and real fun characters, and it has the line "Capitalism, ho!" Whenever she opens the shop.
Now that you've told me twice, I will remember this game. Yep.
It's funny because when I was editing that episode, I looked it up because I was like, man, when did that come out, for one? And I think so. The Japanese version was like 2010, and it came out here in 2013, or something like that. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. I think it came out here in 2010. It came out in 2007 in Japan, but no sequel. That was it. Like, it did really well, and then nothing. And I was very disappointed. I was like, I couldn't believe that, because especially, like, I'm surprised they never ported it to anything. Like, it would be great on a console, and nope.
Right.
Just only on PC.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. Last game is kind of the big one, and I made sure I played a different game than Julian did. Played Animal Crossing New Horizons, Julian.
Yeah, I was surprised that you picked it up for one, but then I was thinking, especially after the Rune Factory, you just got bit by that bug after playing Stardew. Like, you were just like, I kind of want to really, like, build stuff and, also, like, harvest things.
Also, another thing that I have in mind here is I'm hoping that eventually I can somehow get this game to my niece and my sister as well, because I think it's a game they'll dig.
You're right.
And just kind of, like, you know, interact with them in that way, especially in the times we live in. So I think it'd be kind of, that's my other idea, is, like, eventually I'm going to get that to them. They can actually go download it because I own it now, and they can just play it that way. So I think that would be kind of fun. That was my other thinking when I wanted to pick this up. So I've been looking at it since it, you know, got announced. I was like, yeah, I'm willing to give Animal Crossing another try. I haven't played it since, like, the GameCube one, and I had a good time playing that game. And that was like, we had a house full of friends, and we all, like, 4 of us had houses, and one of my friends just sent everyone trash, and it was hilarious. It was the funniest thing ever at the time. This one, though, I don't know. I'm not so I'm only a day into it. My first impressions are this. I don't know if it's very good. There's not a lot to do right now. I can kind of see the trappings. It's really, really simplistic, and I have, like, a lot of, like, real problems that I'm like, why the fuck would you design this game this way? One of them being, okay, so Animal Crossing, you go around, you catch the butterflies, you go around, you catch the fish, you go around, you pick the weeds up, you go around, you shake the trees, you get the pears. I have pears. Now that's knowledge, you know, because apparently everybody has different fruit. I didn't know that was a thing. But you walk around, you get stuff, and you go back, sell it to the man. So, and the man goes, okay, what would you like to sell? All right, I got like 5 things I need to sell to you. Okay. I would like to sell you these weeds. Please accept these weeds into your life. And he goes, okay, I will give you this many monies for the weeds. I go, cool, that's great. And he goes, okay, bye. I'm like, wait a sec, I wasn't fucking done. You have to click through this guy's dialogue every single fucking time to sell one goddamn thing? That's terrible fucking game design. Who the fuck thought that was good?
Dude, that's what I've been on about lately on a lot of Japanese games. Like I was telling you, like on Judgment, where it's like, had to button through the same dialogue every time that I wanted to use the gacha machine. And I don't understand it. Like, Breath of the Wild, you know, where it's like, every time you pick up an item that you know what it is and it tells you, like it stops the game to tell you what it is. It's like, I know. I've picked this up like 100 times, guys. Like,
and this is like, and this is a thing you have to do all the time. It's like the premise of the game. Go get stuff, sell it to this guy for things or whatever. Or, I mean, you can craft stuff too. And believe me, I do craft stuff, but you sell all the extra stuff that you don't need to this guy. And he gives you the money for it, which you can use to upgrade the house and get other stuff. I get it. I see the loop.
Are you sure that there isn't like some sort of weird thing where it's like you have to like, cause you know how like in some of the Yakuza games, like when you go to like Popo or something, like you basically put everything in your cart and then you select buy, right? So it's not like, because if you just like select an item and then hit buy, then you leave. It's not something like that where you can actually like highlight all the stuff.
As far as if there is a trick to this, listener out there in
the one listener
hopefully in your home, you all live in the same house, I assume. That's how I picture you all. If I'm making a mistake here and I can sell multiple things at once, please tell me how to do it, because that part is frustrating. Because like why would you set that up that way? And it's like, it's not like it completely clicks you out. It doesn't make you just click through the dialogue, Julian. You actually have to like it physically. You can walk around and you have to talk to the man again and initiate the dialogue again to sell one stack of things.
Yeah.
And you can't sell like, I want to sell this amount of things because I need to craft this other thing. No, you sell the entire stack every time. And as far as I know, there's not an option to not sell the entire stack, which that's just, I don't know, man. That's just
That's
bad
like
game
Final
design to
Fantasy
me.
1 on NES style, like, dealing with shops. Like, I can't believe that that's the way it works. That
Right. Yeah.
Like, I almost don't want to
don't-
believe it. Like, I almost feel like you're missing something, but I don't think you are. Like, I think that's just,
I don't think I am. I sat there, I played this game for a couple hours, and there's another thing. I don't know if this is a game for me because of this reason. So I really got into Stardew Valley. Reason being is time goes almost sim time. Like it's very it's fast. You always feel like you never have quite enough time to do what you want to do in a day, but then you kind of sneak in just enough time to get through and you feel really good about it, and then you go to bed, you start all over again.
right.
This one is like 2 hours is for real 2 hours in the real world. Okay, I did everything there is to do. I pulled every weed. I caught a ton of fish. I have to wait for a museum man now to show up with his museum so I can give him the fish that I caught. But I can't do anything until tomorrow. So I guess I played this game for 2 hours and now there's nothing to do. I'm bored. And I know that design works for a lot of people. I totally get it because, I just want a thing to pick up for a couple hours and play it and then I'm done.
Right.
I totally understand that. I go hard as fuck on games. So this is on me. And that's why, like, I'm not sure if this is for me yet. I'm not saying I'm quitting it or anything. I will keep going at it. I will keep giving it a shot. This is my very first impressions.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I feel about the game right now. That could all change.
It almost seems like a game designed to stymie you, because when you told me before the show that you bought it, I was like, oh, so you finished it by now, because it came out like, a day ago as we're recording this. So it's like, oh, you finished it because you're you. But you literally can't because you've got to wait.
I have
real
to.
time.
I got to wait for everything to happen now. And that's like frustrating to me. I'm like impatient. I want to keep going. That was the thing about like Stardew is like everything was pretty much open and like things slowly would unlock in that game, and it was really cool when you did. You'd be like, oh cool, I can go to this place now because I got the axe that lets me cut down this log or whatever. That's neat. This one, like, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I don't have any big plans because I don't know what I can build and what I can't build. I don't like, that was the cool thing about Stardew was like I was constantly planning. I was like, okay, this next season I'm gonna plant these sprinklers, man. I'm gonna have these sprinklers on. We'll go here. We ain't gonna have to water shit next year. It's gonna be great. Well, into this. And like, I was just gathering resources, waiting for the winter, doing all this stuff. And that was fun to me. Like, this game doesn't seem to have that same planning aspect. I'm sure it is there. I know, like, it kind of hinted towards it. Like, I talked to one character in there and they end their sentences with cardio for some reason. It's very fucking stupid. I don't like it. I think it's dumb. Sorry, Animal Crossing fans. I think your character's dumb. I'm sorry. Except Tom Nook, he's cool. He seems pretty chill.
No,
but
that is a facade, my friend. He wants you to think he's chill.
Here's the thing about that. My character seemed totally fine with it when he unveiled his master plan to them, like he always does. Like, he does that whole thing, like, oh, now you owe me this much money. My character was like, cool. And I was like, all right, I guess we're okay with this. Fine. But I'll see where it goes. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying it's a terrible game. I don't think it is. I think certain design choices of it are bad and they should feel bad. I don't know why the fuck they went that way. I think it's frustrating. And it's a minor thing, but those minor things are like literally fucking minutes off of my life that I could. Why can't I just click on more things or stay in the store? It's fine if I have to sell one thing each individually. That's cool. I don't mind that. But as long as I stay in the store, that's
right.
Cool. No, you got to click through this dial. It's frustrating. Like, I don't like that. And that's, but yeah, these are my initial frustrations. It's going to all change later on and we could all be big, happy Animal Crossing family. I might meet people and have a good time. Come to Sports Fan Island. That's what I named my island because I think that's funny for some reason. It's an island full of sports fans. They're all sitting there talking about sports.
Yep.
Come talk about soccer and the football. Got you. I almost named it Boy Butt, but I kind of gave that to the Square Roots podcast on Twitter, and I was like, I can't. If they take that name, I can't use it. So no.
Yeah.
Boy Butt Island is a pretty good name for an island, though. I'm just saying.
As your sister has said, you love the word butt.
I do. It's a funny word. It's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know what it is about it. There's something I just like saying, but it's just a fun word to say. I don't know why. Just rolls off the tongue.
You and Tina Belcher have a lot in common.
I think that's where I actually picked it up from. I think I just found there. Yeah, I actually think that's where it came from.
Yeah.
But that's all I got, Julian. What you got, man?
I've played some stuff. Justin, as you know, like I grew up very religious, but have since turned into a godless heathen. But I am hedging my bets, because just in case, let it not be said that I am on the side of the demons. Because, oh no, I think demons need to die, and I've killed so many demons since the last time that we recorded.
Right?
Because I'm still on my Diablo 3 bullshit.
Okay.
They do this thing called season mode, and I've never messed with season mode because I've always, like, whenever I've been going back to Diablo 3, it's always, like, mid-season or something. I never really paid attention to it. Basically what it is you start a character from scratch. So, like...
Okay.
Does not have access to any of the stuff that you've unlocked in your regular mode. Because when you play like the regular mode and you beat the game, you unlock adventure mode and like you have a stash, so you can actually send armor to different characters and you share your money pool. There's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of stuff that you get, and then every time that you level up past 70, you get like a Paragon point. Like basically you can keep leveling infinitely, but the Paragon levels are like across the account. So when you start a season character, you don't have access to any of that. You can do adventure mode, but it was interesting. So season 20 started just a couple days after, we recorded the last episode. I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and try season mode. Like I've got some time to kill, and I was still like really into Diablo 3. I had gotten my third character to 70, and I was like, yeah, I'll play a season character, get them to 70. That'll also be my fourth character, a trip, going towards that achievement. And so I start a character, and I'm like, okay, I know this game. This game is super easy. I'm throwing it on expert just out of the gate because it's not a challenge otherwise. Start getting my ass kicked, Justin. Like I can,
oh man,
like I can survive, but it's like I'm taking forever just to kill like a couple enemies, and I'm like, I'm not making any progress. Ooh. Like, all right, let me drop this down to master. Same thing. Like, okay, hard mode. Nope. I had to drop it all the way down to normal. And even then, playing in the adventure mode, where an adventure mode is basically just like you can go on these bounties. They basically just like remix the levels and just throw you at a bunch of different things. And then if you do 5 bounties in an area in a day, you get like a whole bunch of experience and a big thing of loot. Couldn't complete the bounties in adventure mode on normal. And I was like, well, shit. Like, I don't know what to do here. So I just started playing through the story, and I played through all of Diablo 3's story again on this character. I played a demon hunter, and now he's in the mid 50s, or no, he's close to 60 now. And so now I can do adventure mode, and I had bumped it up to expert, and I'm doing okay. But yeah, but without having all of that extra stuff available, like, it was a tough road to hoe.
You found a new challenge in Diablo 3. That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so I'm going to try to get him to 70 and then see how far I can get, because I think the seasons last about 3 months, and there's like certain like objectives that you're trying to complete within the season mode, and if you complete them, then you get like some extra like cosmetic stuff. And so I'm going to try to do that. I looked up my stats just because. So this is a thing that they used to do on the Xbox One, and I've noticed that recent games don't do it. But if you go to your achievements tab on a game, you can look up your achievements, but there's also a stats tab, and like each game, I think they would have to like decide what they wanted to track for you, right? And a lot of the games will track time played, which I love. I wish that like every game on a system level would let you know how long you've played them. I wish that you could do it by file. Like, I think it's so stupid that like you don't know how long you've played a game. Because I like to know.
Yeah. I wish it's tough to do on console. Like, it's almost impossible to find out how long you've played unless it's in the game itself. I always hate that. Steam is the only one that'll tell me how long I've played a game for. It'll tell me exactly how many hours I put into it every game from the launcher, which is super nice, especially for like a show like this when people ask like, hey, how many hours do you put into this game? A lot or whatever, like I know exactly how many. It's a cool stat to have, and like you can kind of wear it as a badge of honor or shame or however you look at it. But like, yeah, that's something I think hopefully next gen UI will have available to tell you how many hours you put in there. It's obviously not hard if Steam can do it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I wish that, because, you know, the thing on the Xbox, when they do track it, is that it's for the entirety of the game. So, like, you know, when Jenny would be playing Tomb Raider on my account, it would show that I had played Tomb Raider, I think Rise of the Tomb Raider, for like 60 something hours, but that was our games combined, not, you know, and so I couldn't figure out how long I had played it.
Yeah, I guess the only way to know is like through save data. It'd be tough. That would be hard to do because that's how Steam calculates it. It's total hours. So,
right. But even so, it's like games should just let you, they should just track it. Right. But anyway, I agree. That was just for me to say that, like, at least on the Xbox One version, I've put about 150 hours into Diablo 3. So extrapolating that, I'm probably edging past the 300 hour rate at this point, because I played a ton of it on the PS4, played a ton of it on the PC. So that's one of my most played games of all time now. Like, we're getting in, well, I mean, it's nowhere close to like Final Fantasy 11 or 14, but those are the next highest games. Unless we're talking about, like, I'm sure that I've played like Street Fighter, like Alpha 3 for more than that, but we're talking about over 20 years. So, you know.
You probably kicked my ass in that game if you put that many hours into it, yeah.
Well, but the thing is that, like, I don't remember a lot of stuff. And then also depends on the version, because, like, the characters that I loved were only really in the PlayStation 1 version. Because it's like, I'll go, it's like, oh, cool, here's this.
I had that one too.
Yeah, here's this arcade version that they did for the Anniversary Collection. It's like, oh, wait, Balrog's not in here, and Guile isn't in here. And it's like, well, shit, like, DJ's not in here. Like, those were three of my best characters.
Oh man, you're definitely a charged character guy.
I didn't used to be. Alpha 3 turned me into a charged character guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Street Fighter 4, I use charged characters. Everything else, I use circular.
Yeah, I've always been a Shoto guy.
Yeah.
That's always been my bread and butter. Like, that's what I learned. I don't know, that when I learned how to do it, I was like, oh, I get it. And like, charged characters were good when I was younger because I could like occasionally pull off a move, but like, I've gotten actually decent with charged characters in Street Fighter 5 of all games. I kind of like, maybe it's because it's a little slower pace. Like, I kind of get the timing a little bit better. And like, cause I can do like, you know, spinning bird kicks with Chun-Li pretty good. Like, I'm decent with Chun-Li. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at all. I go online and get my ass whooped and I'm like, oh, that was cool. And then I stop playing the game immediately. But, yeah. But you're almost to the halfway point on Diablo as my Skyrim save file on Steam. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Almost halfway.
I believe it. Yeah. And so I also, for a little bit, I played Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, because it's on Game Pass. And Justin, I don't know. For some reason, I must have seen some footage of Ori and the Blind Forest at some point, and I got a completely wrong impression of that game. I thought the main character of Ori was this big, black, hulking character with like a white face. That is not the character. The character is this cute little like fox that's made out of pure light. It's really cute.
Yeah.
So I had this completely different version of that game in my head, and I never went back to play it, and I probably won't now because I've heard that the sequel is much better. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is one of the best looking games I've ever seen, which is weird to say because it's just like this like side scrolling, you know, it's an action exploration game in the vein of Bloodstained or Castlevania and stuff like that. I'm not saying the word. There's other ways to say it.
You took the long way around, but you got there.
Well, I mean, I like action exploration because I think that's really...
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, action exploration I like. Okay, I dig it.
It's so beautiful to look at, and it's got one of the best soundtracks I have heard in the last 10 years, easy. And
I really need to look it up. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it, because there's not anything in it that's been sad, but I'm kind of on the verge of tears the whole time that I'm playing it, and it's straight up the soundtrack. Like, there's something about it that is just like, it feels like, and I've heard the last game was pretty sad, and it feels like it's a sad game, but they haven't presented me with anything that's sad. But it just, there's something about it that has triggered me emotionally. Not in a bad way, but it's just like, I don't know why I have to keep like wiping tears from my eyes as I play this, but I am.
Right.
And I was really loving it, but I've gotten completely stuck twice already, and I've only been playing it for like 2 hours, and I think I'm probably done. The first time was just a situation where the game didn't do a good job. I had gotten an item that could do a thing, but then it didn't show me really well that there was a switch. Like, it was basically just out of my field of view that I needed to hit with this new item to do the next thing.
Yeah.
But the part that I'm at now, I got this new ability where it's like, there's certain points where when you jump, you can hold down the left bumper and it slows down and you can like dash in a direction. It basically gives you like a little jumping off point, right?
Okay.
That's fine. Totally. I totally get that. But then it says that you can use it on projectiles to like get to even higher points. And so there's this little like purple thing that's spitting out like poison, like on a horizontal plane. Above it is a breakable ceiling that they've already shown that the poison breaks that type of material.
Okay.
But when you jump up and then use that new ability on the projectile, it only lets you jump further up and then you hit the ceiling. But I need to break through that in order to flip this switch, and I do not understand how it works. And nothing that it's telling, and it's like, yeah, I can go look it up, but it's like, it's a situation where it's like, am I going to have to like start looking stuff up like every like 20 minutes of gameplay?
Yeah.
Because that's not like these games, the way these games live or die on how well everything connects to each other and how it flows.
Right.
And if this is breaking up the flow, and I don't know if it's for me. It's really good. Like, it's a really good game though. And I just wish that like the structure of it was a little bit better. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just like not figuring things out.
It might be like a case where if I was playing this is what I would do personally. I would just go look it up.
Right.
And then if you keep hitting this obstacle, then I would quit playing.
Yeah, because this is only the second time.
Then it's on the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like after that, it could be like, oh, now I get it. It's just like this one thing was a little weird and didn't explain itself super well.
Right.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell though. Like I can't guarantee you anything. I haven't played it. But you know, that's what I would do, because I end up doing that a lot because I'm stupid. I get stuck in games all the time, and it's usually almost every time I look it up, I'm like, oh, of course, that was on me. I'm stupid. Like, and then I'll keep going from there. So that's what I would suggest to do. Like, I'm not one of those people that like is against using a guide. I enjoy using a guide. I find it sometimes very relaxing to use a guide to play a game. I used to love strategy guides. I have very fond memories of sitting down with Final Fantasy VII Strategy Guide and playing that game like a boss. But yeah, that's what I would do if I was you.
Yeah.
I would look it up, try to take another crack at it, and if you keep hitting walls like that, then yeah, maybe not for you.
Yeah.
I want to take a look at it. I'm kind of waiting a little bit. I know it had like some weird performance issues. I'm not sure if I'm not a big fan of the Metroidvania stuff. I'm sorry, action exploration. My sincerest apologies to everyone at home and everyone here.
It's just me. It's the hill that I'll die on. It's fine. And you had mentioned that when we were talking about it like off air last time, but
yeah.
I think that this one I think you would dig it because I was surprised at how combat heavy it is, and it feels more like a side-scrolling like character action game. Like there's like air juggles and air dashes, and it's like it's a type of game where you really need to learn every enemy. So like, because it'll punish you for whiffing. And so it's a thing where it's like, okay, like you see this enemy, you know exactly, like after a couple of times, like, okay, I need to hit it twice, jump over it, and, because it's going to lunge at me and then I can come back at it. This one enemy always jumps, so I need to like dash under it and then hit it when it lands. It's very much that type of game. And then when they start throwing in like multiple types of enemies at you at the same time, and then it's like, okay, who do I prioritize? And then, and there's also like a bunch of moves that you can assign to the different face buttons. So there's loadouts basically, and there's a perk system. Like it's a much deeper type of game than most of this genre usually has, because usually the combat in these games is very simple.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah. That's always kind of like where I get bored. I did like Bloodstained last year, but
the combat's very simple. Like it's not Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And the reason I was going to say the reason I really liked Bloodstained was how RPG it was and how hard you could break it. That was the part of the game I really got into with it.
Yeah.
And so that sounds interesting. Better combat, in a game like that. I'll definitely give it a shot. I mean, it's free on Game Pass, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just on Game Pass. And
yeah. When my internet stuff is refilled, I will go ahead and download that game at some point. Good old internet caps.
You've got those. Okay, I didn't know you had that.
Oh yeah, I got it. Like that, especially right now.
What does the show do to you? Like, does this?
Oh no, this isn't too bad at all.
Interesting.
It's mainly like if I watch a lot of videos or something, like then it caps out. But I don't usually have a big problem with it, and I'm not even like I haven't got any warnings or anything yet. But I still I'm like, I don't know. I downloaded like 3 or 4 games this month. I gotta probably stop doing that this time. Like, all right, so we gotta probably watch just in case I want to do something later. And yeah, so I kind of am wary about stuff.
I have a feeling that this COVID-19 stuff is going to fundamentally change the way that the world looks at the internet. Because I mean, there's a lot of countries that have already like started to make the internet just as a utility, where it's just
a utility as it should be.
And I think because there are certain places in America that have removed the caps because they realize that people are working from home or they can't go out, so they're going to be streaming more. But yeah, I think having to do that math in your head is just awful. And when we're going into next gen, when these games are going to be easily double the size that they are now, that's untenable.
That is one of my big worries for next gen. Like, it probably won't be too bad because like a lot of the games I like are pretty small already, because I'm not like, I mean, I like the AAA games, but most of the stuff I play is indie stuff, and those are really small games. And that's why like a lot of the stuff I played this month, they're all really small games. And I'm probably fine on internet. I'm probably blowing that way out of proportion.
I'm pretty sure Nioh 2 is not small though. Like,
Nioh 2 was I think 20 or 30 gigs.
Oh, that's
like
okay.
That.
That's small for
it wasn't actually standards. It wasn't actually it wasn't actually as bad as I thought. That was part of the reason I held off on Doom Eternal. But then again, at the same time, I hovered over Doom Eternal a couple times. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to let Julian tell me if this game's good or not, because this is not really my thing, so I'll wait on it.
Let's talk. Well, okay, so leading into that, I've obviously, I pre-ordered Doom Eternal ages ago because you got Doom 64 as a free pre-order bonus, and I want to see what Doom 64 looks like on an Xbox One X. Like, that's silly to me. Turns out, pretty darn good. I forgot that Doom 64 was really good. That game does stuff with level design that's bonkers, because it's like you hit a switch and then you turn around and the entire hallway has changed. It's crazy. It's like, it's really hard to navigate, but in a fun way. It's like, okay, like I have no idea what's in store for me right now, because everything transforms at the drop of a hat.
That is actually the one Doom game I've sat down and played a good amount of, because I think I rented it when it came out way back in the day, and I don't remember a whole hell of a lot about it, but I did have a pretty good time playing it. So yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to go back and see.
Yeah, and so I had it preloaded on the Xbox. I was just waiting for it to unlock, and I was like, Thursday at 11, I'm just going to go ahead and start playing as soon as I can, because I've been waiting for it. It's like, it was my most anticipated game of last year, and then it got delayed, and so it was and then Final Fantasy got delayed, so I was like, this is the first big game of 2020 that I've been waiting for, and my internet went down Thursday night. And didn't come back. Like I had to wait, and they had to come out, and there were some repairs that needed to be done. And so they did that today, and so I finally got to play it like around like 1 or something. But before I get into that, so like, I know that you used to like the Halo games and stuff like that, but you've said it multiple times like you don't care for first person games, but. And I'm not a huge first person shooter guy, but there's certain ones that I love. And my main thing is that, like, I don't like to do the competitive thing, and also I tend to be bad at aiming. But, like, what is the issue for you? Because there's a handful of games that I think you would really love, especially because I've seen you in action, and it's not that you're bad at them. Like, I played Borderlands with you, and you were, like, way better than me.
Yeah, no, I'm not awful at them, and, Halo, I do like a lot. I would play that game again, actually, and would have probably a good time with it. I think what I liked about Halo, using that as an example, I loved how slowed down it was.
Okay.
Because it felt really tactical to me. Like, it always felt like I had time to react to what was happening. Like, if I was getting shot, you had the shield, so you could kind of, oh, hey, I'm getting shot here, fucking duck behind a thing. It didn't feel super punishing for mistakes. I have been watching the original Doom, the 2016 Doom,
right.
I should specify. One of the YouTube people that I like to watch has been playing through it, and they're a lot like me, where first person shooters not really their jam. They seem to like this one, Doom 2016, a lot.
Yeah.
It did jump scare me once, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. Hopefully this game's not a lot like that, because that's not, I don't like first person jump scares. I can handle them okay in, third person. First person ones though, I don't know. I'm not okay with it.
I don't remember a jump scare at all in Doom 2016.
It was really, it's super telegraphed. It's the most telegraphed shit in the world. And even I seen it coming, I was like, I know this guy's gonna fucking jump. It's like you pull a key card off a guy, and then he like jumps out.
Oh, okay.
And then immediately you kill the guy.
Yeah.
But like, it's still, I was like, I know it's coming. Yeah, there it was. Fuck. I was like, all right. And yeah, that game seems okay. It moves really quick. It seems very reactionary, which I don't know. It's one of those games that, like, I think if I was touching it and playing it, I might really like it. I'm not sure. Now, the new one I've heard things about, and this is a big thing that I really don't like in first person shooters. I do not like platforming in first person. That is a thing I am not a fan of. It's a big turnoff for me, and I know Doom 2016 has a decent chunk of that in it. So I'm not, or not 2016, Doom Eternal. They made it a little bit more of a thing. I'm not saying I'm not going to try it. I do plan on trying the game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just kind of, I was going to say, I was like, I'm going to wait and see if Julian's over the moon about this. I will definitely give it a shot. If he's like, it's all right. Then I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll just try 2016 out or something.
Yeah. And 2016's on Game Pass. So,
exactly.
It was. But anyway, so yeah, but it's interesting what you said, because see, for me, like Halo and a lot of the first person shooters that came after it, I felt they felt too slow to me. And I think it's because I did start with like Doom and Doom 2.
Yeah. See, I didn't. Halo was, well, that's not true. I played a little bit of Doom when I was a kid. Like Doom 64, I think, was about the only one I ever played. I watched a cousin of mine saw through that game. That guy was insane at video games. I think he, actually has like a YouTube channel, for like retro games. Really good at video games. Mm-hmm. I've watched him beat Punch-Out in one sitting, with no cheats or anything. That guy is amazing. Anyway, I watched him play that game, and I was like, I remember my mind being blown by that game when I first saw it. And I also was really into, well, not really into, that's the wrong word, but I liked and enjoyed the game Unreal Tournament.
Yes. Played a little bit of that on Dreamcast.
Cool. Yeah, I liked that a good amount. I think it was Dreamcast I played it on, actually. So I'm not like completely against that like real fast-paced style, but like Halo, I would have probably been turned off too, but I had a big group of friends that's all they played. So if I'm hanging out with these guys, I'm going to play too, because why not? I'm here. So eventually I got pretty decent at it because, you know, you're sitting around playing it that much and eventually you kind of learn the ins and outs, and I enjoyed that like slowed down feeling of it. Like, so a lot of the first person shooters that came after it, like that's kind of what I would look for. And I know like a lot of video games like copied that, but then again, I always was like, yeah, but it's no Halo. It doesn't feel the same.
Right.
Like Halo kind of hit that, you know, perfect spot in that aspect. So I'm not sure. It's one of those things I do want to give it a try, because like watching that person play 2016 was like, and him, like, he was like, dude, this game's fucking awesome. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, all right. Like watching him play it, I was like, yeah, I can see it. I guess it seems cool. The music's great. Obviously, the music's awesome.
Yeah, and the sense of humor to it, which is weird to say for this like really like grognard, hardcore, like, you know, edgelord type aesthetic, but it's got a lot of humor to it. Like, especially when you go in and read like the codex stuff, or not codec, but codex stuff, and you know, just certain ways that like the Doom Marine like reacts to things. And then especially with 2016, this new lore where you realize that the demons actually have like their whole Bible is written about the coming of the Doomslayer, and they're actually really afraid of him. Like that stuff is really neat, and they definitely start to expand on it. But yeah, I will say, like, you know, and me and Angelo talked about Doom so much that year that it came out. Like, I think almost every episode we were talking about it.
Yeah, I remember.
And so I'm not going to belabor it, but like, you know, one of the things that I really loved about that game was that it's about like very quick on the fly resource management. And also the fact that like they don't have you reload your gun, I think is great. That it's just like old Doom where it's like you just shoot until you run out of ammo, and you don't have to worry about it, except for like the super shotgun, because that one, you know, you're redoing the shells because there's only 2 in the barrel. But that's how it was in Doom 2, so they just like carried that back over. But the whole thing where like, okay, I'm just going to like run around as quick as I can. Like, you don't want to stop, right? Like, it's not a game where you stand still. You are circling around the battles area, and, you know, you're taking out enemies. You're prioritizing very quickly. Like, you know, okay, I can ignore this guy because he doesn't do a lot of damage. I need to take out this big guy first. And then like whatever damage that I take, I'm going to go take out this little guy, like do a glory kill on him to get my health back. Like, that whole thing is amazing. And in Doom 2016, they had the chainsaw, which was like you had like up to 3 charges on it, and then you could use that to like insta kill any small enemy, but then it would take like up to an entire 3 charges to kill the bigger enemies in one shot. But when you would do that, you would get all of your ammo back.
All your ammo.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was such a limited resource that you couldn't really count on it. Doom Eternal is really cool because you always have at least 1 charge of the chainsaw. That one regenerates over time. So that's really nice, because now it's a thing where it's constantly like you're replenishing your health and you're replenishing your ammo. And, you know, right off the bat, like it's really gorgeous. It feels phenomenal. Like 2016 did also, but I will say, to possibly alleviate your concerns about the platforming, because I get you, like, platforming in 3D or in first person usually sucks. Yeah. But
not my thing. Yeah.
It controls so well that it isn't an issue. And if anything, like, the extra mobility, because you now have a double jump, and you eventually get a double dash. So you can jump twice and then dash twice. And then when you add that with, like, when you start, like, grabbing poles and swinging off of those, and then that gives you another, like, it resets your double jump. So then you can double jump off of that, and then if you've waited long enough, you can then double dash off of that. But the thing is that, so that's really great for when you're in the combat arenas to just, like, get away from enemies. But as far as just, like, getting from point A to point B, it's very simple. Like, the platforming is really just like, hey, I'm just going to like jump to this platform, and then sometimes I have to like do a midair dash to get to the next thing, because you can also like climb on certain walls.
Okay.
Now, the way that they layer onto it is that if you want to get the secrets and you want to like really plumb the levels, that's where the more challenging stuff with the platforming comes into play. But again, it's not. I did one that was pretty tough, but it was really just it was really good of teaching me how to use my double jump with the dash effectively. And so I understood, oh, okay, I just wasn't doing this right. So that needed to be there.
Okay.
Because there's also like extra lives in this game. Like, that's one thing I love about Doom Eternal, even more than 2016, is it is not trying to pretend that it's anything else but a video game, right? Like, like that screen is full of HUD. Like, there is so much shit on the screen. Like,
right.
You know, it's like, no, we're not trying to like hide this stuff. Like, you need all this information. You can switch it off if you want, but I don't know why you would, because you need it all. And, you know, so there's like extra lives now. And so like if you die, like you can actually you'll spend an extra life automatically and you come right back. And if you lose them all, then you go back to a checkpoint. Which is really nice, because that's definitely saved my bacon a couple times, because
right.
it's definitely a lot harder than the last game was. And I'm playing on the normal difficulty level like I did. Which is, it's just one up from the easiest one. That's like the default.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting.
I've heard it's kicking a lot of people's asses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, here's the thing is that, like, you know, the soundtrack is awesome. It's gorgeous. Like, I think the game almost moves too quickly to really appreciate how amazing it looks. So sometimes I'm like, I'll just stop and be like, wow. Like, I can't believe, like, that this looks like this. And you're actually, like, so the first level, you're on Earth, but then the second level, you're on, like, another planet. And I'm starting to think that maybe Doom Guy is not human. There's some interesting stuff that is being bandied about in this game so far. I'm only on the second level, by the way.
Interesting.
And when you glory kill a cacodemon, you pull his eyeball out, it makes this really cartoony popping sound that I love. Like, it's comical, and like certain things like that. Like, I picked up one of the collectibles, like, is basically like almost like pop figure versions of the Doom characters, but they're stylized differently. They're not pop characters, but that's the closest analogy that I can make to them. Right? They're very plasticky looking, cute toys. I got the Doom Marine version, and so when he picks it up, he lifts up his arm that has the blade on it, and he like extends the blade, and then he flicks up the character's blade arm with his thumb, and then he like bobs the character's head, like head banging, and I was like, all right, that's good. This is what I wanted from this game.
Yeah.
But so part of this is on me. I'm playing this with the Elite controller, and like I had said, like I was really excited because it has those programmable paddles on the back, and so I've assigned the R3, the stick button, to one of those paddles, and that's the melee button, right? The glory kill button.
Right.
I'm trying to train myself to use that instead of pushing the stick in, because I don't like pushing the stick in. But you know, it's new, and I'm having trouble like basically, like, sometimes I will press that when I mean to shoot, and sometimes I shoot when I mean to melee, and those are not mistakes that you can make in this game. It wants you to be very quick and very precise, and so, like, that's on me. I understand that. I do think there might be a little bit too much going on in this one, because now you have this shoulder-mounted gun that fires grenades with the left bumper, but then also belches fire with the Y button, and you use that to get armor shards back. And then you have the chainsaw, and you have the dash, and then you have the melee, and it's just a lot. And it's not, I know that I can do it, but I was on the second level, and there was something about where I was like, I'm getting my ass kicked, and I don't know that I can do this. And it was weird, because I was like, I'm just going to turn this off. And I was like, I'm just going to go back to Diablo. And then I went back to Diablo, and I was like, I'm not feeling Diablo. And then I was like, I think Doom Eternal just kind of flipped a switch in my head where I'm no longer in game mode. And it's not because it's a bad game. It is a fantastic game. I think there's just something about it right now, and I don't know what it is. I almost think that, like, because of what's, like, if this game had come out 2 weeks ago, think I would have been fine. I think right now I need something really chill that's not asking a lot of me. And even Diablo 3, right. I don't know if it's that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just end up going into movie watching mode for a little bit. Because I've been going pretty hard on games for like the last year straight.
It happens.
But
it sounds like there's a lot going on.
There's a lot.
And it sounds like it's really overwhelming. I'll give it a try. I might play the coward role and turn it down to easy. I'm not.
No, I almost played it on easy on 2016. And honestly, I would say like just go download 2016 and give it a whirl, because I think that it builds on everything that you learned from 2016, and that's the thing that somebody had mentioned that I agree with, is that Doom Eternal in the first level is starting at the level that you were at the end of Doom 2016. So, you know, it's kind of good to already have like those skills down.
Start at the start and build up. Okay.
Yeah. All right, I would recommend that.
I'll try that instead. Okay.
Yeah. And just especially just to see what you feel about, because like I said, it's already on Game Pass, so it's not going to put you out any. I do think you're really going to like it, because I think those games feel just so pinpoint good. And I did say that it wanted me to be precise, but Doom 2016, you don't have to be as precise. And I think that's one of the disconnects. So like, there's enemies that have weak points, and they have like things that you need to shoot off of them. Like the Arachnotron is like the class. Everybody's talking about the Arachnotron, right? Because it's got this powerful like mounted gun on its top, and you have to shoot that off. But you have to be precise to do that. And I'm used to just like running around and just like kind of taking things as I see them and not really planning. Where this game wants me to basically be doing the running around while I'm planning. And I know it's just a new skill that I need to learn, but I don't know if I want to learn that right now. I really wish the Final Fantasy VII Remake had come out when it was supposed to.
We need it now more than ever, really. Yeah, it's a weird time in the world, and, you know, doing the best we can, I guess. That's why I started modding Skyrim again, because I was kind of like, I don't really want to play anything. I just kind of want to make something look good and feel accomplished doing it. Yeah. And that's been really nice, actually. It's been really relaxing. So you know. And Diablo 3 was doing that right up until today, and I was like, that's really weird. Like because I do want to finish doing the season mode with my Demon Hunter, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm just gonna, I'm not sure. Cause like, I even played the Resident Evil 3 demo, and I was like, this is fine. Like, I don't know. Like, I think I might just be getting into a malaise, and it you know, it's a weird thing, cause it's like, it's not even that like my life has changed at all with this. We talked about that at the top of the show. Right. Like nothing is different for me, but I think I listened to so much news and stuff like that, and realizing, this is kind of how things are probably going to be. I mean, I think people are being way too optimistic about like, we'll be out of this in like a month or two. It's like, no, I think this is going to be the way it is at least until the end of the year. And people need to start preparing for that. But yep, it very well could be. Yeah. It very well could be. But yeah, if I were you, Julian, I would take a break from playing video games.
Yeah.
Me personally, when I take a break from playing video games, I just watch somebody else play video games.
Right.
I like watching people play video games. That's a real big hobby of mine. Like, I watched a dude play through the entirety of Resident Evil 6. That game is terrible, but it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But like, you like movies, man. Watch some movies. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready to go back to video games now.
Yeah.
That sounds fine.
I might do that until Final Fantasy VII comes out, because I need to play that as soon as it comes out. Like, honestly.
Me too.
There's some scuttlebutt that the physical versions might not be shipping everywhere, and I might just end up doubling up on that one. I'm like, if my Best Buy is closed, then I'm just going to get a digital copy and still get the physical, because I need to know.
I'm already planning on it, because like, I ordered the special edition thing, and I was like, I don't know if this thing is even going to get here on time, or if it's even going to be ordered at all, because they keep emailing me weird shit about it, and I don't know what's going on, because I ordered it directly from Square, and they're fucking confusing, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to order the goddamn digital version, because I hate uploading things from discs anyway, and then I'll just keep the special edition in its nice little box, and it'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all that we've got for Consumption Junction. But the show is not over, my friend, or listeners, because we're bringing back Video Game Cage Match for 2020. So it's time to lower the cage and step into the ring for Video Game Cage Match.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest spectacle on earth. This will be one hellacious ride tonight. This is a 15-foot high steel cage, ladies and gentlemen. Who will triumph? Who will prevail? And who will realize their dream?
And this week's cage match is brought to us by Transmit 2033, who is pitting the two big juggernaut releases of this week against each other. We have Doom Eternal versus Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I am going to go first on this one, because here's so I thought it was going to be real. I was going to be real cute. I was going to be like, you know what? I know everybody's going to say or think that I'm going to pick Doom, but no, the way that I think it's going to be is that the characters in Animal Crossing are so cute that the Doom Marine just can't take it and doesn't know what to do, and then they just confuse him and pin him. Nah, man, fuck that. I just played a couple hours of Doom Eternal, and the Doom Marine is just going to eviscerate everybody on that island and not even care. It's not even going to register in his mind. Like people will say, like, hey, man, why did you kill Tom Nook? And he's going to be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, that little raccoon guy? I don't remember a raccoon guy. I remember some pulp. Like, that's all I remember. Yeah. I just remember pieces of pulp, because that's all that I leave in my wake. It's Doom Eternal. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be, Julian. I think this is a really bad mismatch. I know why we made the match. I don't think it's good for Animal Crossing, though, because, man, I did like zero research for this. I was just like, I just can't see a scenario where Animal Crossing wins here. How does that even work? Like, what do they do? Like, what are they gonna fish fucking Doom Eternal guy to death? Like, what are they gonna catch him? What are they gonna put a net? Gonna use a butterfly net and catch him in a net and that's it? No, that's not gonna happen, man. Have you watched the fucking Doom guy? He doesn't even say anything. He just walks up to people and like tears them in half. There's no way. There's just no way, Julian. There's no fucking way. No, Doom Eternal wins, man. This is like inhumane, and I feel bad that this got booked. I didn't do it. I just want everybody to know that.
I thought maybe they might kill him with kindness, and that's how it would go.
No,
but no, you're right.
They'll try to talk, and somebody will be like, cardio at the end of it, and they'll just like rip the dude in fucking half, because fucking, like, he doesn't care, he just kills things. That's all he knows. No.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I know I'm not. It's bad.
Well,
really bad.
Let's see, because there's still a chance that Animal Crossing can come through, because
they can. Our listeners are weird.
Yeah, and
I love them.
As you know, our listeners, in addition to booking the matches, are also our referees. So I'm going to kick things off on Facebook with Adam Bradbury, who says, I got to give it to Doom in the cage match. I really like Doom. Also never really got into Animal Crossing. Just always liked Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley better. I think Justin would agree.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. Yeah. Stardew is a good game.
Yep. It's not.
Anybody else on Facebook, Julian?
No, that's all I've got.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll read the first one from pixelbit.com. If you go on pixelbit.com and make an account and you comment on the show, your comment could sound like this. I don't know why I'm reading it like that. It's just fun to do.
No, I like it. I think we should do that all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna keep doing it every time now if I start. It starts out like this. This is from San Andreas. He says, I'm going to go against type here and vote for Doom Eternal over Animal Crossing.
Ooh, shocking swerve.
Doom is my go-to for first person. I don't know why I said fight, because I can't read, maybe. Go-to for first person shooting action. I'm actually waiting on the Switch version of Doom Eternal, which apparently impressed id Software with how well it was done. While Nintendo is far and away my favorite publisher / developer, Animal Crossing is not one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, other than dabbling in the original GameCube game. I've never gotten into it. So there you have it. I voted for a US made game or made first person shooter over a life sim made by Nintendo.
I am shocked.
There you go.
Okay. I know I talk a lot of shit about the Switch. Because I don't think it's a very good machine. But I get the idea of like, hey, you know, it's really cool to have all this stuff portable. But San Andreas, I really need, like, I want to know, because I know you have a PS4. Why would you knowingly get like a inferior version? Like I understand if you only have a Switch, sure, get Doom.
Yeah.
But like, you know, because I've seen people talking about like, oh, I can't wait to get Witcher 3 on the Switch, even though that I've played it on like the PC, and it's like, but why?
Okay, that I actually understand a little bit. Reason being is if you've already played it, it kind of makes sense to like, hey, I know what the game is, and I could go back and just kind of infinite grind.
I've also seen people who are like, oh, it's on the Switch now, I can finally play The Witcher 3.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, okay. Those people are wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Those people I don't understand. But now, also the Switch does have the backwards save, the transferable save
True.
thing with the PC, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Doom is going to look fine on the Switch, but it's not going to look like the PS4, and it's not going to run like the PS4.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So San Andreas, definitely let me know in the comments, because I can't follow you there. That's
I'm curious to know myself. Because I'm a little confused by that, but you know, I don't know, man. Maybe he just needs to play it at the gas station. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's another thing is that like I would not want to play that game on a smaller screen because there's already so much going on. Right. I couldn't imagine like shrinking that down to a like portable mode on Switch. Weird.
Part of the reason that looks so good is the frame rate and stuff, and like I can't see that pulling 60 frames on a. I mean, it'd be tough on PlayStation 4 too, because that's not the most powerful system. But dude, frames make a difference. Trust me, I've been Skyrim modding, and I've been counting some frames, and they make some differences. Anyway,
I like that you were Skyrim modding.
Modding.
Yeah.
Yep, modding. That's what I call it now. That's what we call it on the streets, Julian.
Yeah. that's when you get that milk mod economy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
That's coming. I haven't got there yet.
Next up on Pixelbit is Xtrian, who says, Doom Guy blows the head off of a demon and is on his way back to Earth. He is ready to tear up some demons, but finds himself in a quaint little village on some island. Here he is greeted by a nice raccoon and friendly dog. The raccoon offers a home with no interest to worry about. He could theoretically never make a single payment and keep his tiny quaint home if he wanted. Doom Guy is overwhelmed by his generosity and cries. The kind yellow dog hugs him and tells him that whatever worries he had before can't hurt him anymore. He enjoys a nice serenade from the dog playing guitar and eats a piece of fruit that is freshly plucked from the tree. Doom Guy is happy and will live a quiet life with new friends. Winner, both. No, see, I don't like that last part. I think Animal Crossing wins that. I'm putting
Animal Crossing wins that because they condemned him to that island or whatever, and
which is actually that is Doom Guy's personal hell. So I think that I'm sorry, Xtreme, but that's one for Animal Crossing.
I think he's also wrong because I feel like Doom Guy at the very like best scenario for the Animal Crossing, he would just think they were like toys and he would start playing with them like action figures and slamming them into each other. And I don't see that ending well for Animal Crossing, but live your life.
Yeah.
If you think that's the right call. After that, we have Superstep. Superstep says, I own Doom 2016 and I enjoy it fine. And I have not played all that much of Animal Crossing, and when I played the GameCube original, I hated the voices and couldn't get far without a memory card dedicated to just that game. However, right now, I'm about to go to sleep, and Ace Animal Crossing sounds a lot more relaxing than Doom. Plus, there needs to be a Pixelbit vote for Animal Crossing now that San Andreas has voted otherwise. A vote for Animal Crossing, Eternal Wrath. That's not the game, but okay.
Yeah. I will say, dude, don't, you need to just like go with your gut. I'm taking it because that is a good way of putting it. Because Animal
he went
Crossing
with
does
his heart.
sound very relaxing. Maybe that's what I needed to get this week. Maybe I should have bought Animal Crossing.
You know what? Maybe that's what you need in your life, Julian.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you don't end up screaming, dude, I feel like you would scream at that shop way more than I would.
100%, dude. Like, when you told me that, I was like, okay, well, that's a no from me.
Yeah, I know. I know how little things bug you, and they bug me too, but you're way more into that stuff than I am. Oh, man.
They're solved problems, Justin. I don't understand.
I know. I totally understand, man. I'm totally with you. Oh, man.
All right. Well, last up, but certainly not least on Pixelbit, is Casey, who says, Doom Eternal. I really loved Doom 2016, and a grappling hook sounds like a perfect addition. I might buy Animal Crossing 2, but it's a lower priority than Doom. Oh, yeah, I haven't gotten that grappling hook yet. That's going to probably change everything. Not that I'm not already digging the way that game flows, because
right.
I don't think that I'm ready for it, and it's weird because I was so ready for it, but
I feel like when you do go back into that game, you're gonna you're gonna figure out the groove that it's going for and really dig it.
Well, and one thing I was going to say in Consumption Junction is that I had listened to an interview with one of the creative directors on the No Clip podcast, and he was saying that, like, and I didn't play Doom 2016 this way, but he was saying that a lot of people just use the shotgun and kind of brute force their way through the game and didn't learn that, like, you had to use, it was more efficient to use different weapons on different types of enemies. I got that. But he was saying, so we're making it to where on Doom Eternal, like, you are going to fail until you learn how to play it. And I'm definitely seeing that already, where it's like, okay, like, I need to really start working on prioritizing stuff. But I don't, like I said, part of it is that, like, my fingers are doing this weird, like they can't quite get down this new controller configuration.
Right, yeah.
Which maybe, like I was saying, I think that we're ready for new buttons. Maybe we're not. Or maybe they just don't need to be on the back of the controller. They need to be on the face of the controller. But I don't know. I'm not giving up on that, because I do think that I would prefer to have a button than clicking the stick in, because I just don't like doing that. But we'll see. I might give up on that.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Now we're over on Twitter.
We are.
And first we have David Portnoy, and he is at David Portnoy. And he says, that's how I read it last time. I got the bit back. He says, between Animal Crossing New Horizons and Doom Eternal, I'd give it to Animal Crossing. Tom Nook could figure out a way to get the Doom Marine to pay to kill demons.
I could see that.
I don't know about that.
No, I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like he's so good at bullshitting people that somehow he would have the Doom guy on his payroll, and then he would say, "Hey, look, you got to like lay down for me and like just take this pin because you work for me now." And Doom guy would be confused and then just do it.
I don't know about that, because I think he probably just rip him in half, because I don't think he cares. But I mean,
yes, but in this fantasy scenario, I can see
all right.
it.
If we're okay, gotcha.
All right. Well, next up is JD on Twitter at a myth known as JD, who says, as for Cage Match, I'm voting Doom Eternal. Animal Crossing is nice when I need a self-induced nap and all, but sometimes you just want to, I don't know, be engaged with a game, and that's why Doom works for me. I'll take a look at Animal Crossing next time I need a nap. Holy shit.
Ouch.
Shots fired.
Man, I thought my review of Animal Crossing was scathing. I was just telling my experience with the game. I could still come around on it. I could come on here next time and be like, dude, I love Animal Crossing, but
well, you know what? They really fucked up when they took out the NES games from Animal Crossing, because they figured they could just sell them to you. That really pissed me off, even though I've never played one of those games, because I thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, oh, you can play NES games on there? That's neat.
Right, yeah. All right, after that we have Xavier Krieger, and he's at Cadis Bane on Twitter, and he says, what does he say?
It's by State Select. He just named it wrong.
Oh, yes, that's right. Your labeling, sir, has confused me for the last time. But anyway, he says, so even though I played the OG Doom and the newest Doom, I couldn't tell you anything about the story. But would the Slayer's first instinct to unleash his full wrath on these cute animal friends, or be to unleash his full wrath on these cute animal friends? Unfortunately for him, though, the villagers would have no such scruples and unleashing hell, so to speak, on any interloper on their New Horizons Animal Crossing.
Huh.
So he votes for Animal Crossing.
I just don't know how they pull that off, Xavier. I understand.
I need more details. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they create a trebuchet, out of the things on the island.
They are on a boat, but they need to build a wall. No, need to build like a dome.
Yeah. Let's not build any walls.
He'll get through. He'll get through the dome, though.
He gets through everything, Justin.
I know, Julian. I don't know.
All I know is that when I started Doom Eternal, the voiceover guy told me to rip and tear until it was done, and I was like, okay.
That sounds accurate. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Last up on Twitter is Jeffka at Jestoff, who says, Animal Crossing, but not for the reason you think. Here's how this would definitely 100% go. Doom Guy enters the ring by punching his way up from hell, carrying a shotgun, chain gun, plasma rifles, sweet-ass sword thing, and other weapons that look like they could kill you if you look at them wrong. He jumps into the ring, looking for his opponent, finding it in the cute Tanuki fellow in the opposite corner. He aims a BFG at Tom Nook, stoic as he prefers to claim victory. But wait! Tom Nook offers a deal. A house on a hill for only $19,000? Doom Guy would be crazy to not take that. The match ends with the exchange of money, the talk of business, and the shaking of hands. Tom Nook has made another satisfied customer.
Maybe. I don't know.
There's one problem with that, Jeffka, and that is the fact that Doom Guy doesn't like to stop and listen to people talk.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I don't know. I mean, if you see, he doesn't listen to dialogue. He just beats things until they work right. I don't think it's going to happen, but, you know, whatever. And don't forget Blaine Fea.
Oh, I didn't see Blaine Fea. I'm sorry.
He's totally there. I see him. He's not invisible to me. You matter to me, Blaine Fea. This is from Blaine Fea. Have we said his name enough? He is at Blaine Fea. And let's find his thing here. He formats his tweets a little awkwardly. So let's see here. And for the cage match, Animal Crossing wins. Why, you may ask? Because Animal Crossing doesn't make me have to get a clear pair of underwear when I play it. The last Doom game I played made me shit myself in fear, so that's a no from me. Although I will admit Doom is probably better. Still no thank you. Yay, non-scary games. There you go.
Wow.
I don't know why I keep reading people's stuff like I'm Captain Kirk, in a really bad Captain Kirk impression, but I like it. It's fun. But yeah, I don't know.
Dude.
Yeah. So.
It's a tie.
What? It's a tie. How? Okay.
I don't know how that happened, but now I need to pull out the Arbiter of Justice, which is my 10-sided die. Hold on.
This is interesting.
It's fucking insane. I don't understand you people.
We may have the biggest upset in video game cage match history here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I am shocked and astounded by what I am seeing in this cage tonight. Julian, I really thought Doom Eternal had the leg up here, but apparently we were wrong. And you know, sometimes the underdog just gets that roll up pin and they pull it out. So I'm really curious as to what the Arbiter of Justice is going to decide for us here.
Which one is the D10?
Julian is obviously preparing the dice. It's the Arbiter of Justice. Please address it by its full name. So, you know, in a cage, Julian, the object is to beat your opponent to death. And as far as I know, nothing is ever killed in Animal Crossing. In fact, when you catch a fish, you put it in a fish tank. I don't know how you do that exactly.
Fuck it, we're doing D20. I don't know which one is the D10. It'll just be the same. I'll just do 1 to 10 and 10 to 20 instead of 1 to 5 and 5 to 10. It's fine. I can't believe that I'm having to pull out the arbiter of justice on Doom versus fucking Animal Crossing. What is wrong with you people?
Anyway, fish tanks. Where do they get them from in the Animal Crossing universe? They just have them on hand. It seems weird, but I'm glad no fish are hurt.
Doom wins.
You know, I'm glad the bugs are okay. Okay, thank God. All right, okay. Jesus, I was really worried there. I was really trying to.
Oh wait, no,
pull some excuses
wait. I'm
out of my
sorry.
ass.
Wait, no, I read that wrong. Animal Crossing wins.
Oh well, fuck us. Well,
all right. So here's how I see this.
Okay.
Doom guy came into the ring. He was loaded for bear. He killed KK Slider. He killed
no, not him.
No. He killed KK Slider. He killed Timmy and Tommy. He eviscerated Isabella.
Oh, my niece really likes her.
But Tom Nook, I don't know, started talking some shit. And then while Doom Guy was perplexed that someone would actually try to speak to him in the middle of a wrestling match, like a bunch of the Animal Crossing villagers just kind of bum rushed him and were able to just kind of like you said, every once in a while you just like get that roll up pin from out of nowhere because you're not expecting it, because like why would you think that anybody would step up to the Doom Guy, especially these little animal dudes, especially after he's killed so many of them in quick succession.
And also I have, I think, I definitely saw the Doom Guy shoot in the air during that roll up, and he may or may not have knocked a beehive down, and the beehive, or the wasp nest, dropped down from the ceiling, and that stung him a lot of times.
That is his only weakness.
Yeah.
Not too many people know that.
As we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the demons don't
attack
though,
the Doom Guy with wasps.
Because if the demons knew, then it would be ball game over for the entire world.
Exactly. They don't know that. Don't tell them. Please don't tell them that wasps. He's really not into them. He's very allergic. So they got the pin from the wasps.
Fucking Animal Crossing, man. What the hell?
I love video game cage match. Do we have a booking for next episode? I must know.
We do have a booking for next episode. I feel it's going to be a little anticlimactic now, because we're going to go hella old school. This one comes to us from San Andreas. And I don't know. He gave us a bunch at the beginning of the year, but I'm just feeling this one for some reason. But we're going to do old school arcade, and we're going to do Centipede versus Galaga. So now I know for a lot of listeners, you're a lot younger and stuff, so definitely look them up. Keep in mind that clearly, it can be as arbitrary as you like for selecting video game cage match winners. So even if it's a matter of like, you just like the name of one of them better than the other, that's whatever. Just, that's how we roll here.
Yep.
But so we're going to want those, and we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up. So, next episode, remind us what we're doing for stage selects, Justin.
I want to know the top, we'll say 3 games that people have never actually played, their favorite ones.
Yes. And again, we're going to have Centipede versus Galaga jumping into the steel cage, and we're going to want those comments by 8:30 Central Time on April the 3rd. Once again, you can go to pixelbit.com and comment in the show thread for episode 172. You can DM us on Twitter at NWPcast. You can also go to facebook.com/nerdswithoutpants and message us there. You can also find us elsewhere on the internet. Justin?
I am at Tyrone Swift, and you can tweet my other podcast at Clickbait Update, or Tyrone_Swift. I'm sorry.
And what is going on at the bottom of the page, or do you not know yet?
Oh yeah. We're gonna have a big wrestling episode, so if you didn't get enough wrestling from this podcast, come listen to that one. Although that one will be more focused on really, really dumb things about wrestling that I find funny. And I don't know the exact list yet, but I'm pretty sure, Julian, that I'm gonna do bad wrestling theme songs because I love bad wrestling theme songs.
Awesome.
They're my favorite thing.
Please. Oh wait, no, it's, are you making a list? or is it one?
I'm not making the list,
Okay.
but I could always make a list of 5 more if you got one.
I'm just saying that if it's not on there, then I need you to at least include William Regal's first WWF theme song when he was doing that Manly Man gimmick.
He's a man.
Yes.
Oh, Julian, that's on the list.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Yes. I love that.
It is. It's a hilarious song.
And if you want more Justin than that, you can also find him on a recent episode of Games My Mom Found, a friend podcast of our show. You're on the Grand Theft Auto 2 episode. That was a lot of fun to listen to.
I hope it was entertaining. They challenged me they said, I don't know how much we're going to have to say about this game. I think it's going to be a short episode. And I was like, challenge accepted. So I went on many good rants and what's the word I'm looking for?
Vitriol and bile.
Yeah. Well, they weren't that, but a lot of tangents. That's the word I'm looking for. A lot of tangents.
But they were filled with vitriol
nowhere.
and bile.
Yeah, sure.
You were not pleased with that game.
That game doesn't hold up very well. We'll just put it like that. Yeah. Go listen to it to find out more.
And you can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. Hey folks, Julian here from the editing bay. Since I recorded this, I also have published a Grand Theft Auto 6 preview parody over at pixelbit.com. And since I have not received the outward validation that I desperately need because I didn't get enough of it from my parents when I was growing up, I would really love if you guys went over to pixelbit.com and checked it out and let me know what you think. Thanks. Back to the end of the show. Once again, you can find the show at NWPcast. Our theme music, Relax, and interstitial tracks To the Maxx and Moody Grooves are brought to us by Megan McDuffee. You can find her online everywhere at Megan McDuffee. Go find her and support her and tell her that you love her music from Nurse Without Pants, because it's fantastic. And if you liked this show, consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast from. And also, we said it at the top of the show and kind of throughout, but we are going through a hard time here just as a world. And I know for me personally, like, it's been really cool to have all of my podcasts to kind of distract me from that. Especially as they're trying to adjust to, podcasting from home. And hopefully if we are able to do that for you in any way, like that, just like, I'm really glad to know that. And let us know, if you want more from us, like, I wouldn't mind doing like just some like bullshit specials here and there. Like, they wouldn't be edited the way that these are. Like, they'd probably be like more like the E3 one that we did a couple weeks ago.
People seem to enjoy that one. So yeah.
So if you don't mind a sloppier version of Nerds Without Pants, without all the polish, that's definitely something that we can do. Cause
oh yeah.
Yeah, we play a lot more and we talk a lot. We do a lot more than we end up having room for on Consumption Junction. So, and actually, I would like to do something about the new consoles once we know a little bit more. I will say that, like, I devoured that hour-long presentation by Mike Cerny. I thought it was, Mark Cerny.
Yeah, it was him.
I love hearing that dude talk. I don't understand most of it, but I still found it completely fascinating. And I was like, oh yes, just pour all of this on me. Just give it to me all. Like, I just love it.
Yeah. I got the details from podcasts and I was like, that's enough. I don't think I need to sit through an hour of that, but yeah, that's me.
But once we learn more about that, I would like to do that just to kind of...
Absolutely.
Because if we aren't going to have E3 this year, I still want to at least get excited about consoles. So yeah. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for this episode. So for myself and Justin, thanks for listening, and keep it pantsless, internet. Goodbye.
Stay safe.
Yes. Wash your goddamn hands.
Yeah.
So, did you know about stacking fruit?
No, you can stack fruit?
My girlfriend told me that.
Yeah.
Changed my entire worldview, was
Why?
just rocked to the core.
How?
Drag fruit onto other fruit.
Why the fuck doesn't it just do that by default?
I don't know. Yeah, you have to do it manually, but you can stack up to 9 fruits in a single slot.
Motherfucker.
I know!
I want to say that was the case in the old Animal Crossing.
I'm not saying
I'm not
saying it wasn't, but
Yeah.
believe because it just
stack
doesn't.
fruit?
Yeah.
Like in your inventory. You're talking about in your inventory, right? Yeah.
Yes, I just brought like 30 something bananas back from the island.
Fuck! You just broke the economy of that whole
Single
game.
trip to retail yesterday, I must have sold like 40 or 50 fruits in one trip.
That's fucking crazy.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I got like 12,000 bells out of it.
Fuck, man. Oh!
I can't tell if you're incensed or rejuvenated.
Both, I bet. But yeah, every time, like you have to
You didn't know this before.
You have to pick up every fruit individually, go into the inventory, and manually drag them all on top of each other to stack them. It's just like every time you get.
What end?
I know.
It was kind of.
I have real life fruit to stack. This virtual. I'm fucking stacking